calling this meeting to order. The first order of business is the minutes from our last meeting, December 4th. Do we have any questions, comments? Do I hear a motion?
Could you give me one back?
See them. Well, I'm not going to read them now. I abstain. Oh,
I'm missing a member.
Okay, do we have a motion of one sort or another? With regard to the minutes.
Motion to approve.
A second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, no, wait.
I abstain. Do we have enough to vote?
Yes, we do. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, good. Treasurer's report is treasurer's not here this evening, so we will pass over that. Our first item of business would be 6:05, and it's not that time yet. Do we have any monitors reports?
I do believe so.
Okay.
Let me look. Yeah,
Read something?
no. 1954, which is Jackson Plumley, is working on his roof, doing substantial work. It's in progress. And Valentine Lane, Poet Tripp. Basically, no. I mean, they are working on their projects.
Okay, so just work is in progress.
Yes.
Very good. We still have another minute. Any applications for certificates of non-applicability?
Well, 2015, which was denied.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Oh, well, that, since then, nothing.
Right. Okay, very good. Okay, first item of business will be 46 Cape Isle Lane. Shall I come on? Well, you want to tell us what you're planning to do. And maybe what we should do is turn that off, kind of post that so people can see it. Or
I brought a large printout of the project in case you don't have one like that.
right. Do you have one of these?
I did send the plans, but
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to pass these around because I've looked at it.
yeah, so this is a little summer cottage off Cape Isle Lane, right on the edge of the historic district. And the only visible changes that you're going to be able to perceive on this house is on the second floor. Right now, there's photographs of what it looks like now in there. There's, I think, like 5 windows across the front of the second floor. Now there will be 4 windows and a door. And there's going to be a rooftop deck over a sunroom, which I don't think will be visible from anywhere unless
The
you.
railing on the deck, maybe.
There will be a railing on the deck.
And you've depicted the railing on the deck in your...
The picture shows that on the front page, you can see. Yeah.
So the only issue, as far as any of us can tell, is that there will be a change of fenestration on the second floor.
It's just it's new. It's not a big change. It's just new windows.
New windows, but substituting a door for one of the windows.
Yes.
And a railing.
Yep.
And that's all that will be visible from the water, which is the public way.
And you need binoculars to see it from the water.
I understand. Any questions, comments from all and sundry?
I know this house, it's right down the street from me, and it's tucked way deep into this lot. So you really cannot see it either from Cape Isle Lane or
No, only
I
from
walk
the water.
along a path.
Only from the water, yeah.
that you can't really see it even from that. If you were to be on the water, it would be pretty hard to see it.
Okay.
Very good.
You discounted the foliage or whatever would block the view, which we don't count. But we did review this last time, and
We just talked about it, we didn't review
We talked about the fact that we were going to require an application for appropriate.
We're going to strive to maintain the character of the building. We're not really changing anything about the
I
character.
can see that from your plans.
I move to accept the plans.
Second, third.
Okay?
I moved.
No, now I'm asking for a vote.
Oh,
Sorry.
I vote, yes.
One aye, I say aye.
Aye.
I'm going to say my name. Rudd Lawrence, aye. Caroline Bolter, aye.
William
Bill
Kendall, aye.
Deborah Chialfi, aye.
Beverly Shep, aye.
Okay. It's
Well
been
done.
approved. Now we've got to appoint a couple of monitors.
Oh, okay.
Because, and these are basically if you want to change anything from what you've got in your plans, notify the monitors when you're beginning work and when
Sure.
you're ready to
You wanna be a
complete
monitor
work.
with me?
Okay.
So,
Beverly and I will monitor.
perfect. Now, do you have their contact information?
I don't think I do.
You have mine because we corresponded by email. That was me
Okay.
who emailed you.
Okay.
All right.
I can give it to you again.
I can dig through my email.
I'll give it to you again.
All right.
That's fine.
And when do you expect work will start?
Well, we're waiting for a building permit. We've started some work. Lenny Potter has already put in a new septic system. And we have an outfit there that is replacing some of the supporting piers under the building because presently it sits on loose cement blocks and we're stabilizing it with real concrete. But we're not going to start any of the real construction until we actually have the permit. But as soon as we do, that's going to start. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
All right. We all
Rod, should we
set?
sign some plans? Should we
We
sign
should sign some plans.
these?
Mhm.
This has the application attached to it. We could sign these.
And you're done. These plans will go to the building commission.
Okay. So you don't need me anymore.
You have my information. He gave that to you? He gave
I
you
have
mine?
them right here.
Great.
Thank you.
You're all
Perfect.
good. Thank you.
I'll be in touch. Thanks a lot.
We need one more, I believe.
Deborah, will you do
We're
it?
gonna keep these.
I think, yeah, we're gonna use these for
You
the,
are.
Did you hear Caroline's request?
I didn't hear.
She was wondering if you would deliver
Will you
those.
get it to the,
we'll talk after the meeting.
Oh,
Yep.
right.
Can I use your pen for a second?
Oh, you did.
Thanks.
And it is only 6:10. We have 5 more minutes before our next item of business. We thought that would take long.
we thought that, I don't see, that, actually, I forgot this when you asked me. That Kip, we'd fill him in because that would be quick. Is he here? I don't see him. Kip was.
He withdrew his request.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They decided they can live without a skylight.
Oh, thank God.
And then we,
I was gonna recuse myself.
The other thing I should, although the certificate of non-applicability was denied, just to cross all our Ts and dot all our Is, I will open it up for discussion right now. And
we're talking about 2015?
Main Road, yes.
Why it was denied?
Well, I think it was in your letter, shall I, but.
It was, I think it's over my signature, but
Yes. You know what, let's hold off even on that until we hit our mark. So everyone can just have a drink of water, enjoy yourselves, whatever you need to do.
what about this? Can we talk about that or?
That we are talking about that after. Once again, I'm delighted to see such a big turnout.
In light of the subject?
And I should also announce, as long as we're killing time, that we are looking for new members of the Historical Commission. As you can see we're pretty thin up here at the moment. Two are absent right now, but one may be making himself permanently absent, so. Anyone interested, come talk to us, give me a call, you can write a letter to the selectmen. It's that simple.
I had a name and Beverly? I had a name, 1800 something. It's out of my mind. She has an interesting first name.
Has she been before us?
Huh?
Is that Ursula?
Ursula what?
Left.
Have we submitted it?
No, I was supposed to get in touch with her, which I will do.
18 something Main Road?
I don't know the exact address.
Well, I don't either at the moment, but
She came,
Ursula, yeah, I think it is.
she came to us about windows. Very nice.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
I think
windows, that was
she's-
the windows in the barn, is that the one?
No, in our house.
Oh,
well,
She was,
okay, okay.
I thought we approved her, right? We did, but we're talking about her for the committee.
yes, we are talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will.
And you and I had an immediate reaction. This was,
Good.
Has she indicated an interest?
I think she wanted to participate in something.
and in the barn, her father has an apartment.
Right.
We're on the same page.
Lisa, they from the baby.
And we can't talk about this now?
Caroline, you don't know what 18 what it was,
I'm sorry?
what her address was, 18 what?
I don't remember, 18 something.
Yeah, more or less know which one.
It's gonna take more time to read that.
Minute.
I think I may be able to resurrect it, but it may take me a minute.
Okay. 2015 Main Road. I'm just going to read from the clerk's letter in response to the two applications filed with respect to this property. In the first one, it says, "Dear Mr. Bronca, please be advised that the application for certificate of non-applicability that you submitted on December 19th, 2023, with respect to the above property has been denied. The raised platform structure and other elements of the proposed pool complex are clearly viewable from a public way, which include public bodies of water, and are not exempted from review by the Westport Historical Commission or by the commission bylaws." Now, do we have, although according to our bylaws, it's appropriate to deny a certificate of non-applicability by the clerk and the board chair, because this one is contentious, I'm willing to, I think we should ratify it here at this meeting, and I think first, of course, we should open it for discussion, if there's any further discussion by anyone here.
Is somebody here representing Mr. Bronca?
I don't know. I don't see him.
Anyone?
Representing Mr. Brianka? Bronca?
Mr. Chair, if you will.
Yes.
Town Council, Roger Smerge. I have not heard from Mr. Bronca's counsel today. I was under the impression that she would be in attendance, but I have not heard anything from her today indicating as to why she or her client would not be attending tonight.
Well, there's two cameras, so he had his own camera the last
Maybe in the
time.
hallway.
know, do invite them in.
Really help if you could speak up a little bit during the meeting. Agreed.
Absolutely.
I'll check the hallway.
Thank you.
Are these working?
I think they're only working for the camera. I don't think they're working as an amplification system.
Miss Jordan, Kelly Jordan, somebody?
Okay. We are discussing the certificate of non-applicability. It has been denied, but just to cross every T and dot every I figured we would ratify the denial tonight. I don't know if there's anything more that anyone has to say on this, but I'm willing to entertain it.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and fellow members of the Historic Commission. Kelly Jordan Price from Higley Allen and Snyder. I'm here representing Rob Bronca, trustee, the owner of the property at 2015 Main Road. I just want to reiterate, and I know it's in our papers, we understand that the board has denied the certificate of non-applicability, but we maintain our position, as we said at the original hearing back in December, that we do not believe that the current project in front of the board falls within the commission's jurisdiction, and we just want to reserve all rights.
I am curious, and maybe I should direct this to Mr. Bronca. In the additional documents you submitted with your application for a certificate of appropriateness, you provide quite a bit of documentation showing that you're a sophisticated real estate developer. So what is it about that you as a sophisticated real estate developer don't understand about the words "at grade"? Because the pool, the exemption for a pool is a pool substantially at grade.
That's not what the bylaws.
That is what the bylaws. That is what it says.
The only at grade qualifier was for walks, driveways, patios.
And pools, actually, it's in
And
there.
then it went on to say other things that are outside the commission. And I'm asking you to help me understand because I'm telling you how I'm reading.
Okay.
Walls and fences, a few other things, then it talked about new construction, and then it didn't have to say pools that were exempted, but it went to say pools, which is evidence of legislative intent from the town that they specifically wanted to exclude pools. It didn't say pools at grade. At grade referenced walkways, patios, etc., and that's how I read the bylaw.
Okay. You're right. I'm actually looking at terraces, walkways, driveways, sidewalks, and like structures substantially at grade.
Right, and I want to make sure that we're speaking the same language as we go through the proposal.
Additions, alterations, and appurtenant structures that are not subject to view from a public way, including but not limited to swimming pools and the like. Well, this is visible from a public way.
Actually, the pool is not, evidenced by the fact that...
No, the pool is not, but the structure is.
The wall is, yes.
Yeah.
Again, walls...
Now, a building has a wall. That does not make the building exempt from our review.
And it does say...
That's a specious argument.
Well, no, because the law is quite specific about what you have jurisdiction over. Buildings, you most certainly do.
And structures.
A wall is a structure. Every wall is a structure. A pile of rocks is a wall. That's a structure, again, over which you have no jurisdiction. But we're here in good faith, reserving all rights to present it, because I don't believe the perception of what the project is what the project is.
All right. All right. Just so you understand our perspective, anything that rises above grade, that is an elevation of grade, is subject to our review, including raised septic mounds, which are a heck of a lot smaller than what you've constructed.
And it does say concrete retaining walls are not appropriate.
That's the internal structure. It's not going to be a concrete retaining wall.
No.
Because you can build over it, build sod over it or whatever.
But it does indicate
that's
jurisdiction over retaining walls.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, again, I don't read the law that way, maybe you can tell me, and then you talk about changes of grade that you have jurisdiction over, and I don't find that anywhere. I'd like to understand that,
Okay.
because if I did read it that.
Well, okay, when you talk, for example, if a sidewalk were actually a ramp built out with earth underneath it, according to what you just read, we would have jurisdiction over that, no?
That would be in addition to a building?
No, we're talking about, you're gonna build a sidewalk, and instead of just building a regular sidewalk, you're gonna elevate it.
Well, that talks about sidewalks are part of that at-grade portion of the bylaw, not walls, fences, pools. Those are separate things, the way I read them. And then-
Well, let me ask another theoretical question, then, if you want to put it that way. So if you were to build a 100-foot-high tower packed with earth, with a stair running around the outside, you say we wouldn't have any review over that, is that correct?
I don't know, again, a tower is probably a building if it's gonna house people, animals.
No, it's packed with earth. There's only dirt on the inside, just like
Just
your
a mess.
plinth, the plinth you've been building for your pool.
Well, you have your own counsel, so I'm not gonna give you legal advice on it, but I'm not building a tower. I'm building a pool.
You're building a plinth, you're building a raised structure, but with a vault in it, the mechanical room that you call a vault.
It was on the plan from the entire time, and I
The
was not
speaker
consider-
up,
I'm sorry.
well, just into it or something. I can't hear you,
I
or
was not
clearly.
considering doing the equipment vault, but I was advised by the contractor that it was more considerate for the neighbors to put it out of view and to insulate it so that you couldn't hear.
What I'm doing is I'm giving you another example of the fact that what you're building is a structure, whether or not it has a vault. But, okay.
Well, again, you have counsel, so I mean, I don't want to debate legal arguments with you.
Okay.
That's not what we're here.
Okay. Well, do we have any other discussion then on the certificate of non-applicability at this time? Let's take a vote of ratification. Do I hear a motion?
I move that we accept the decision that it's non-applicable.
That is denied.
It's been denied, thank you.
Do I hear a second? Okay, Beverly?
I approve, it's not applicable.
No, no,
I
no.
know, I know, it's poorly worded. but
I, William Kendall.
No, it's not, no, it's denied.
It's denied.
Right, okay.
You agree.
I agree.
You vote that it's denied.
I do.
I vote that it's denied.
I vote that it's denied.
And of course, I've already made that decision, as have you, but we will ratify it again here. Okay? All right. Onward.
Moving on.
You ready to present your project?
Sure. This is Paul Massey, who is the landscape designer.
Good to meet you.
He's on the wall on the project. Has extensive experience throughout New England.
One for each of us, or are we passing this down?
Like we each get. Do we have enough to post one?
I believe we may have some elevations that previously submitted that.
Thank you.
Thank you. We can share if you want.
I'm sure if you want to use one to post.
I'm going to need that.
I've seen some of these, not all.
Any more? That's it. You know what? I'd be willing to share this, just so we can maybe post this. Because I think it's worth, so that, because this is a public hearing, let's make it viewable to the public, yeah?
Pass it back. I have seen some of them, not all of them. Actually, the one or two I haven't
Oh,
seen.
no, I was thinking we could
Yeah, after.
take it apart and put it up there.
After Bob takes a
Okay,
quick look at it.
okay, very good. Okay. Go ahead.
So the design was, again, this was something we were going to age in place in this house. 61 I have arthritis, so everything we were looking at.
Could you speak up, please?
So the plan is this is going to be a place that we can age in place. So this design, when we purchased the house, the interior of the house took great advantage of the views of the exterior. The exterior of the house did not. They had designed it such that there was a decaying pressure-treated wood deck that actually sent me to the emergency room with not just a splinter, with a shiv more than likely. My daughter had taken me to the emergency room. So that had to come out. There was also a hill there that contained a septic system that needed to be replaced because of Title 5. We also had to, that's the largest part of the elevation, that's the biggest part of the project. So that's the one that we had submitted already. And we thought that was something that, and that's the south elevation. That's the largest thing, largest part.
Yes.
And the highest part is that southwest corner there, where that tree is. That point right now is the highest point. The rest of the project is lower than that. If I'm standing outside of the ditch right now, I'm taller than most of the wall. I'm an average height.
Couple of questions.
Sure.
First of all, at the west end, I believe I saw on the, one of the documents you submitted with your application, I don't see any dimensions on this, so it
They're
makes...
all in the plans that were submitted.
Well, they're
To
not
whom?
all in the
We
plans
don't
that were
have them.
submitted. For example, I did see on the west wall a height dimension of 10 and a half feet. Is that correct?
Well,
No,
No?
no.
Okay.
Maximum height of the wall is 9 feet.
and that's that corner
And
right
it's
there.
only in the corner.
It's 9 feet. So why, how come the plans that were sent to me say 10 and a half? And how come there's no height here that I can read? You just told me it was on the plans that were submitted.
The plans that I submitted, that were copies of the building permit applications, everything, all the dimensions, I presented them on December 4th. Everything is on there,
December 4th?
including the subdivision.
It's cut off.
What are the dimensions that I read?
I
80
see.
by 100 by 60. What are those dimensions? 80 by 100 by 60?
How high is the wall? Yeah, on our drawings here, I can see some dimensions, but most of ours are cut off. And so what I have here is an 8-foot wall.
That.
The wall's going to vary in location because the grade of the land varies in location.
But it doesn't show the gradation here. This is a flat surface.
You're looking at the west elevation.
We're looking at the west elevation.
That's the elevation.
It's slightly lower to the far left if you're facing the, as you're looking at it. You're going to be like 6 foot 5 inches on the far left, and as you go across to the right, it will go to 9 feet.
Because the grade of the land shifts.
What I'm saying is that when I look at this, you have not drawn the grade.
What he's saying is that grade is substantially
This is-
level, I think.
this
what
is
you're
level.
saying.
That does not give us a good indication of understanding of your project.
Okay. Okay, let's, one item at a time. Another dimension that I could not find on any of the plans you sent with your application was the total length of the south wall.
That's in the building permit application.
Which you had said 90 feet the last time you were here. You said it was 90 feet.
I did not say that, I did not mention any dimensions, I just
Go
referred
to the videotape.
Well, unfortunately, I can't read the plans because when they print them out on 8.5 by 11, they come out this minuscule, and there was no overall dimension that I could see.
Mr. Branca, we sent a letter to you requesting that we would have a design, drawings, that would be viewable for us and understandable, dimension, just like we have architects that bring in to us all the time. I can hardly see these drawings from here. We have the abutters that can't see them. This is not a graphic presentation.
It's a lot of rocks.
It doesn't mean anything to us sitting up there on that wall.
Well, as I said, the approved building plans have all the dimensions on them.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about this. You're here tonight to present your project. And look what you're presenting us. You've hired a landscape architect. You hired a landscape architect. He could have done a magnificent rendering of this. That would make it clear to these people.
What are the total dimensions of what you plan to do?
Yeah, let's just go through them. And maybe it's just right here and now, let's go. So you're saying the west wall is not 10.5 feet high as shown on the only dimension that I've ever seen for the west wall, but it's 9 feet, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And
highest point. It tapers off both directions.
the length of the south elevation is how long, the overall dimension?
I've got it on this plan, on my reading glasses.
It's 90 feet.
Yeah, 91 feet.
91 feet.
4 inches.
91, 4 inches, okay. 91 feet, 4 inches. The west wall, I believe I got that at 61.4, but again, I'm trying to read
56
stuff.
feet, 56 feet, 6 inches.
I saw 61.4 based on the drawings that were submitted.
We shouldn't be having to even wonder about this.
Okay.
This is not something that should be coming before us. It's incomplete.
Well, let me ask another question. The railing, how high will that be?
We haven't finalized that yet, but it needs to be a minimum height for safety code and for the building.
That's 4 feet then, for a pool you're talking about?
No fall protection.
Fall protection.
Fall protection. So you don't need the height for a pool because right now nobody can climb over it because they've got a plinth beneath it. Okay?
Correct.
Okay, so, but you don't know how high it's going to be?
It'll probably be 3 to 4 feet high.
3 to
That
4.
issue was the building department poster.
Yeah, but that doesn't tell us anything.
It doesn't tell us anything.
No, it doesn't tell us what's
But
going
this
to
is
be
what was
built.
submitted.
Okay, got that.
Another thing that would be helpful is the view, the footprint, so we can get a sense of where these elevations are. Maybe it's here. Maybe it's here and I missed it.
To whom?
In this packet here?
It's in the original plan.
Well, that doesn't help us because we have to have something up there to show
That's
the,
it right there.
well, I don't,
But that's not the
that's,
entire thing.
that's a half of it.
That's a piece of it.
This is just a
That's just
piece
the
of
spot.
it. It doesn't show us
This is
an
incomplete.
understanding of it.
Actually, let me ask another question. There's an elevated section of the wall in front of your outdoor kitchen, I believe you call it?
We haven't designed that yet, but, and we haven't.
But isn't
designed-
that, what you're showing on that drawing right there is an elevated section above whatever is there now, and I don't know how far that's going to be elevated.
That's gonna be 24 inches higher than that wall. That wall right there is about 4.5 feet. So
So this, which seems almost complete, this goes out here further here. How much? Give me the dimensions for this whole thing here.
91.4
Yeah, I've got that.
by 50.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a waste of time.
Well, it makes it, I don't see how we can evaluate this
I
based
think we
on
should
what we're
continue,
seeing.
we should have a continuance. First of all, we should have a discussion, and then we should continue it to the next meeting so they can bring us a presentation rather than wasting our time.
Amen?
Let's be clear what they need to bring us so we don't waste our
Well, while we're doing dimensions, as long as, let's nail down what we can before next meeting. My understanding is the spa, including its outer frame or whatever you want to call it, will be a 1.5 feet high and 12.5 feet by 15.10. Or 12 feet 5 inches by 15.10 inches, excuse me. Is that correct?
Yes.
Excellent.
Okay. Okay. There's also apparently an opening in the north wall that isn't mentioned anywhere, except I see it on the drawing. Is that a vent?
Ventilation, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Is a gas heater.
Uh-huh.
So we would require to have ventilation.
Okay. That's supposed to be 2 feet. Wait a minute. 2 feet. Well, if this isn't adequate for us to do anything, actually, at this point, the question is, do you want to request a continuance?
We can, I'd like to have as much discussion as possible.
You want to have a discussion tonight?
Sure.
Okay, and then...
And answer as many questions as we can.
Okay.
I can blow up this plan.
Uh-huh.
That's not a problem. Again, it's been submitted since last spring with the town. We submitted it with our application.
We're not the same as the building department. We have nothing. We don't sit around and joke with them. We don't do anything with them.
May I address the commission briefly? If we're going to continue this, and I think the applicant is prepared to request a continuance, I want to make sure that I definitively know exactly what information you want submitted by us so that we can make sure that we are in compliance with anything and everything the commission is asking.
Okay, I believe...
I think at this point, we will have the discussion, and then after the discussion, if you've agreed to the continuance, we will do that. And that way you'll get the feedback from the people here, property owners, as well as from the commission.
Fair enough.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
With your indulgence, our expert, Jim Collins, a preeminent architect, would like to speak to this issue as to what information is required.
Sure.
Hey, you probably don't know who I am, but I'm a licensed architect, and I have a house at the point, I've owned it for 30 years now. And I actually sat on this commission for about 7 years. I don't know how far back, but it's about when you started, I was in. So I've sat through many of these presentations. And I would say there's a struggle here a little bit, and there's a particular reason. Sometimes when you get a submittal, and you know it, you get a submittal, it's very clear, you know exactly what the person who's asking is trying to do, and you can see it, which is a great benefit to everybody, because now everybody knows what it is, and then you can determine whether it's appropriate or not, or whether it conforms or not, or all those things, and you can do your job. And I know on the 7 years when I was on this committee, I love that when those came in. The ones that were the hardest ones to do was ones that, I'll use my term, that were incremental. In other words, you get a piece of a project, and you'd approve that. And then there'd be another piece of a project, and then you'd approve that. And little by little, you'd accumulate a bunch of things that you actually never really understood what the whole project was until you were so far down in the approval process that you couldn't unravel it, and people would say, you've approved it. And I could never really tell whether that was done because the people just didn't know what they wanted to do, they were confused, they were sequential, and I think sometimes that was the case. I think every once in a while, it was actually strategy. It was a way of keeping everybody confused for a long time. Now, I have no idea why it was done in this case. I have no idea, and so I'm not making a judgment there. What I will say is that I looked at everything, and it was actually fun for me because it was like a game to try to find the information. And so, like what you normally do is when you want to show the height of something, I can easily present something to you that says, here's where the grade is, here's where the top of the wall is, and I can dimension it. I can also put the height of the footing in, tell you that the footing's 4 feet deep, tell you the elevation of the top of the wall, and then you can do the math and you can figure it out. So I've actually told you how to find a breadcrumb if you look for it. But you have to look. And so, if I could bear your indulgence here, I'd like to take these things down, and I'd like to just show you something that says, in my opinion, if it's okay, I did forensic work. I looked at the drawings. And I couldn't do it all from that, but actually, once you start to want to know, if you go to the drawings, if you go to all the other material, if you go to Google Earth, if you go to actually the file for when the house was sold, there's all the photos of that. So you can actually piece together a fair amount of stuff. And then the question was, could somebody present it to you in a way you could understand it easily? And so the only reason why I want to take the time is that if you guys and women could do this, we could get a lot faster if you presented it in such a way that everybody understood. So I'm just going to go through and say, I did some forensic work to try to see what at least I thought this was about. And I may or may not have this perfectly, and if I don't, I apologize. But I'm going to try. Okay. So, sorry for the secondary thing. So this is a cartoon or a caricature of what the building is now. Not now, but what it was. And there was a deck that was out here. And then there was this elevated piece of lawn, and there was a hill that came down. Now, when I read this stuff, it said there was an in-ground pool, and there was a fence. And the in-ground pool was immediately sort of adjacent to the house. And so the only place an in-ground pool could be adjacent to the house, at roughly the elevation of the house, if this is at 18, that's at 17, would have to be on the hill. So the first thing I'm expecting to see is that. Here's a 40-foot by 20-foot pool with a spa, in ground, mostly, because it sits on the hill. And that sounds like what the verbal description of it is. And the ones that are really tough is when the verbal description tells you one thing, but actually the drawings are actually telling you a totally different thing. And it's easier to listen to the verbal description than it is to understand all the drawings. A little bit of fog of war. And so what happens is, if that's what I thought it was, when I did all the dimensions and put it all together, that's actually what it really is. And so what you start to realize is, well, the only thing that's on the existing grade at all is the terrace. The entire pool and the entire spa are actually out on the west, actually up in the air. And the only thing that makes them in ground is they're in the ground of a structure that's created to actually house them. And the interesting thing about this is, we talk about pools or we talk about walls, and it's a little bit like you're talking about chairs and you're talking about footprints, and you're not talking about the elephant that made the footprints or the thing that holds the chair up. It's this enormous thing. And when I say it's enormous, if I did the calculation of the surface of it, it's 4,500 square feet, roughly. 4,500 square feet. The footprint of that, if you have a house that's 4,000 square feet, it's 2 stories, you're talking about a footprint twice as big. Let's go to volume. How much volume has been changed? 17,000 cubic feet, or the size of actually the volume of one of the single floor capes. And so we're not talking about an insignificant thing. And you're right. The walls are quite long. And they're quite tall. There's a person. And this is as best as we can with the grades. Now, I know people will say, well, you're a sophisticated architectural firm, you have all these resources. But I purposely didn't want to show that this is that difficult to do. So I had an intern from Rice, so fourth-year architectural student, do these under my supervision, all these drawings, on a free computer program called Rhino. And so anybody can do these. And if you got these, I think you would know what the design is, you would know what you're presenting, because you would know what it looks like, everybody else would know what it looks like. And so I would suggest the next time, if there's a continuance, that you try to get some information that's readily available, and then it's very easy to then add dimensions to all these things and do that. All right, so if you looked at this thing and you said, and you submitted it, I think somebody would say, well, this has to be a structure. It has to be reviewable by the commission, because the commission has to protect the buildings and settings. The first thing the law says is you have to protect the buildings and settings. Well, what is a setting? But if you could do that to the setting of this house and it's not reviewable, then everybody just might as well go home and you can do anything. I mean, I just can't imagine we could say that this has no effect on the setting at all. It is a structure. Any retaining wall more than 4 feet tall is a structure. It has to be designed by a structural engineer. It has volume. It has space. And if you go back and you say, what are structures in addition to buildings? Well, if a building is one that has occupancy in it, a structure must be something else other than that. But it must be something. And you would think structural engineers actually design structures. You can't build this without somebody licensed to do it. You can build an awful lot of walls, but you can't build this. So I actually think if I were on the commission, I think, with all due respect, I couldn't imagine not requiring the review. It would just be crazy, unless I didn't know what it was. Unless I thought maybe it was that, or I thought it was actually an in-ground pool. So I actually think part of the confusion here is I don't think anybody knew what it was. Now when you see it, you go, okay, I know you don't want anybody else designing anything, and I don't purport to say that we should design anything. All I'm saying is that usually when you go to a commission, there's a win-win. Somebody could negotiate something back and forth and say, I don't want this, I don't want that. And the applicant could say, well, look, I want a pool like that. I don't want a pool. I don't want a small pool. I don't want it right next to my house. I don't want to do that. Even though maybe everybody think that's cool. And I want to do this, and somebody else says, well, you can't do that. I don't know if you got to a place, where you went back and forth and you said, all right, could I have sunk the pool down here? Could I have stepped the thing here? Could I have put the piece up above? Could I put this mostly in the ground? Could I have had the 3 components I want, they're just not all at the same level? I wish they were at the same level. It would have been awesome. I could look all the way out and have this most desirable thing. But man, is that 80% of what I wanted? Maybe. And now you could go back and you could say, well, that ship has sailed. I don't actually know if that ship has sailed, because you're not going to believe this, but I actually have worked on buildings where we had to build a whole new building on an old foundation of I do a lot of hospitals and big buildings, and so we actually had to go in and saw the foundations off. It's an expensive thing to do, but we cut the existing foundations off. We didn't have to destroy them. They were still there, and we lowered it all down because we actually changed the grades of the existing. And so whether this or some other design is done out there that can make it less impact, I think if it had been approved and gone through the system, I think you would have negotiated something that might have been really good for you. I don't know, it might have been pretty good for you. I'd like to think that ship has its say. Now,
So actually, can I interject,
Yeah.
Mr. Collins? It's a beautiful design. That was actually very close to our original design.
yeah,
Our issue is that I'm 61 and have arthritis, so stairs are not good for me. Right now, I can climb them. I don't know how long that's going to last. That's how we ended up having everything walk out from the house at the grade where the former deck was.
right. And so what would have happened, I guess, I mean, I don't want to purport to do a negotiation with you. That's not my job nor yours. But would there have been a negotiation that said, well, you can't have that pool, but you can have a 40-foot by 20-foot pool up on the hill. You can walk right out your door. You can have the spa there. And the one thing you just don't have is quite a big patio. I'm not going to understand and be like, no, I don't want that. But that you could have had that, and that's not exactly what you wanted. but it's not nothing. And I bet you would have, or a lot of people would have thought that was better than the one you did. But that's not, I'm not here to negotiate that. That's your job, that's other people's job. All I'm trying to do is do two things. I'm trying to, you understood the design instantly. I gave you a drawing, and you knew exactly what it meant. I didn't have to even explain it to you. And all I'm saying is there's a power in that. And I'm just encouraging you to do drawings that everybody understands. You must be able to do them. I mean, you just can. You can find people who can do them. And if you saw them, you'd all approve this thing pretty quickly, and we'd get to a place. Now, somebody's going to say, I'm now getting nervous because there are smart people in the room that says, oh, Jim, you have cherry-picked this. You picked a view. Well, that's one that birds only see. How dare you? So I was like, okay, here's what happens if I'm at the west, and here's what you got. Here's what you're doing.
Beautiful.
Here's what you could have done. Here's from the south. Here's what it was. Here's what you're doing. Here's what it was. Here's what you're doing. Here's what it was. Here's what you're doing. Here's what you could have done. Here's what you... And it's just like... it's not nothing. It's actually pretty significant. And I think it's better to show it this way, though, I think, than to come into the detail and talk about how the stones are nice and they came from here, and you know, pay no attention to that drawing. Look at this one. I think you should. I'm just advising everybody. You start here. You can get to the wall. You can get to the thing. You can get to all that. But the first thing you have to worry about is scale, disruption, the setting, and to get that right. And then when you get that right, then you can put beautiful plants in and you can do all the other stuff. But until this is right, I think everybody's talking past each other. So I'll stop now. And thank you very much for indulging me. But this is just more that I think the more every applicant gives you something that you can understand. You can put endless numbers of details and drawings on this thing. You can have key plants. You could say, you know, that is that wall and call it A, and everybody will understand exactly what's going on.
Well, and it seems to me that the south wall is long enough that you could have a pretty 90-foot long ramp if you need to get down to a lower level. No?
That would bring you down to the grass. I don't understand your comment.
In other words, you were saying you wanted it all on one level because you were worried about accessibility. Well, that's what ramps are for. And you know, you could have done that with a ramp, and you still can.
Well, pitch in handicap access, it would have to be redesigned because the ramp would have to be a certain pitch to be ADA accessible. And that
1 to 12. 1 to 12, correct?
Length of the ramp.
1 to 12. Yeah. So 90 inches gives you, how many feet does that come down? Huh?
7.5 feet.
7.5 feet. That would work.
We built, again, structures in it. It's at the point where it's fiscally unfeasible to remove the foundation and rebuild it.
Now, when you say fiscally unfeasible, is there anyone who can speak to that? I'm not sure what that means, but people who are in construction, perhaps? Yes?
It certainly can be removed. It certainly can be saw cut.
Uh-huh.
It certainly can be removed. It certainly can be saw cut. I'm John Moriarty.
Yeah, John, what are your qualifications, if you would?
I'm a commercial builder. My company with offices up and down the East Coast. Buildings you know that we recently built are 111 Huntington in Boston, the Verizon Tower, the new State Street Bank Tower. We're building a 75-story building in Miami and a 90-story building in Miami. We've just done the headquarters for Bristol Myers Squibb, Novartis, Moderna, and Lilly.
Thank you. Continue, I'm sorry.
So certainly this can be modified. There's no question this can be modified. And if I listen to the excellent presentation by Jim, the question comes back, and the only reason I'm here, and I, as I say, I have a place at 1933 Main Road. I do have a pool that's in ground that I came before the commission to see if I could get a certificate of non-applicability, which was granted. And I think that everybody has met that requirement. I also would like to have had a pool that was a few steps out of my front door, but it's down a bunch of steps because that's what I had to do to make it work and to meet the requirements. The issue here is that, for me, is that if the commission can allow people to go do something as fast as they want, claiming non-applicability, and then do whatever they say and say, I can't change it, and it's a fiscal problem for me, I can't deal with this, then we don't need a commission. Because it's just going to be a race. It's going to be how fast can I get how much done until I can say I can't afford to change it. And that's what personally, I'm offended by. And that's not the process by which this town has operated for years. I'm a new governor. I've only been here for 17 years. So my sense here is that certainly this law can be cut down. It's not going to give him exactly what he wants. But if we had started in the process of negotiation and shown us things that we can all understand, which, having been in the business now for 50 years, I couldn't understand. If we can't sit down and talk about what might work up front so that you don't get yourself in a situation, I mean, according to the stuff you've submitted, you spent 40% of $250,000 on a contract, on a pool contractor. By the way, as an excellent contractor, built my pool. So, my pool is surrounded by historic walls that we took apart stone by stone and put back stone by stone. So all this stuff is doable. I think 40% of $250,000 is $100,000 is what we should have paid South Shore Gunite to date. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. So if fixing that is not feasible, then you should stop. Because you're not going to get a permit. It's up to you. Certainly the wall can be cut down. There's no question. It's an 8 or 12 inch thick concrete wall. I'll send you the names of five guys that can do it. Or you can tear the whole thing down and start again. And my guess is to tear it down and move all the material is a $40,000 type of thing. So, you know, those are numbers that are within a ultimately $300,000-400,000 pool structure. Don't seem to be something that we raise.
I've already spent more than $300,000 putting up the walls, in addition to the South Shore Gunite. Removing what was there, trucking it off-site, disposing of it properly. It's substantially moved.
No, I'm sorry that you spent that much.
Expensive education.
Yeah. Again, it's hard to argue with you about what your capabilities are.
They do have a permit. They do have a permit. Actually, I have several permits.
The permit's been revoked, hasn't it? You've got a stop work order. Isn't that the stop work order an indication?
Doesn't
that
mean
it's
revoked. Doesn't mean that the permit has been revoked. That's a separate step.
Okay, but the stop work means you can't go any further, so your permit's useless to you.
Not necessarily.
And the law is clear, the building code is very clear. A building permit issued in error or based on an incomplete application can be pulled.
Okay.
105, section 6.
Very good.
Which is not applicable.
Which is that what?
It's not
Applicable.
Is not applicable? Why is it not applicable?
Because I submitted a complete set of plans to get a permit.
How come nobody can read these complete set of plans if they're a complete set of plans? For example, I never saw this in relation to the property lines. I don't know if the setbacks are correct. I don't know anything about this.
There was a pool overlay submitted, superimposed over a land survey that shows it.
And not what you submitted to us, but
To whom? A building permit, and it was in the file that I submitted. I submitted nearly the entire building department file with my certificate application.
but you don't have the approval from the historical commission. So you're kind of out of luck.
Again, we've already submitted, you don't have jurisdiction over walls or a pool that is not visible from the public way.
But it is.
It is.
Yeah, for many public
So then why
ways.
did you need to fly a drone over it to see it or trespass to
We
see
took
it?
boats out too. I mean, that's what we do. We have to be able to get a good look at it. We didn't have plans, so that was the way to do it. But I'd like to say something that has nothing to do with the intricacies here, but
And you weren't aware of the water? Boats go by?
Right, and you couldn't see it from a boat.
Oh,
The pool you could not see from the boat.
Don't we have pictures of it?
The wall, the structure, the plinth, the raised platform, the terrace, the plinth, call it structure, it's all structure. You know, the Mayan temples are earth-filled, but they're structures, even though they're earth-filled. And that's what you're building. You're building a plinth.
Well, I'm building walls supporting a pool. Yes.
Yeah.
which is.
Plus,
20
it's not
feet.
just wall supporting pool, you put a room in it.
There's an equipment vault. I can put the equipment outside. It'll be right next to people on Valentine Lane. I was trying to.
It doesn't,
right in your view.
it doesn't change it. It doesn't change it.
Just one small thing. You show these wonderful photographs of stone walls. How high is that stone wall?
It's just representing aesthetic.
Okay, but that's probably 3.5 to 4 feet. I think that would be acceptable, not 8 feet.
Or 9 feet, as the case may be.
Or 9 feet.
Well, one thing I'd like to say, I know you're reviewing your guidelines, you're looking for people to weigh in on what they are. Having done work in other historic districts, a lot of them are quite detailed. So you know when you pull out the guidelines, you design the project, I can do that, I can't do that, I can do almost all of this. This I need to go to get a variance. It's quite clear. Here, that's not the case.
Yeah, Nantucket is 365 pages long,
Right, if I built
and
a
it's
house in Nantucket,
constantly in
yeah.
revision. And fortunately, they have about 50 people working on it. We don't have that here. We don't even have enough to fully staff the commission. And we're all volunteers. Good idea, great idea.
Well, again, and the reason, there was a question why I submitted what was called extraneous material, to indicate my intent was not to destroy the point. This is my second home on the point. The first one was built in the 1700s. I practiced law on Benefit Street in Providence in a historic building for over 10 years. I've won awards doing historic renovations. I've done multi-million-dollar historic renovations. My intent was not to do anything to circumvent the commission, to disrespect the commission, and I see these defamatory statements out there getting published, and that's a problem for me, for my business, and it's untrue. I've got a track record to depend on that I can present to them, that it's clear that my family respects the history of the point in all other historic districts where we've done work or lived or worked. We've actually chosen those places to live in.
If that's the case,
Exactly.
why did you do this, and why are you fighting now the pushback you're getting?
I don't think I'm fighting.
Oh, I think you are.
You're bringing your lawyer and threatening litigation? That sounds like fighting to me.
I haven't threatened anyone. with
Well,
anything.
you're now
Well-
surrounded by a group of neighbors, good people, who have felt it necessary to hire an attorney to fight you. I don't know why you chose to live here, because frankly, you could have done everything that you choose to do anywhere else in Westport, on either river, wherever. It'd be in the ground and done by now. But you chose to do it here, and there's a lot more to living in the historic district, and I from what you say, I believe you know that, than owning a 200 or 300-year-old house. There's responsibility to the ancestors, to the whaling captains, to the rum runners, to the people who built it and imbued it with a sense of this history, which is very rare, and if it is to be ruined, it could never be replaced. And I'm appealing to your sense of community, to your conscience. Could you not see your way through to compromise? You could be a champion here. You seem to know enough about historic things. You could be a champion with your money, with your influences, with your resources. You could help us. We're struggling. Now, if you want to fight it that way with your high-priced Boston attorneys, you could probably win. Look at where we are. We're a struggling town. We're trying very hard just to supply the town with essentials. And we are volunteers. So I'm asking you to help us.
I'd be happy to help you. I think there's ways you can get your guidelines changed and improved that are not the ways you're talking about.
No,
So long as
she's
you
talking
get your
about
way.
your project. She's not talking about the guidelines.
Well, there are modifications we can make to what's there that I think might be palatable. We have a lot of boulders on site that we remove. We could do that so that the height of the wall is is mitigated with landscape beds, things like that. There was all kinds of slopes there before. We can replicate some of those. We had actually talked about that before we came here tonight. We could maybe do some drawings and represent those to make that with depictions that are representative of what it would look like. That's something I think we can do with materials on site. That we would not have to destroy all the work that's been done. We would not have to litigate. I don't want to litigate. I'm a deal maker. That's how I make my living. Litigate when we have to, not because we want to. But that's something we can certainly consider doing, and we can redesign that for the next commission hearing so that you can try to get it to you as well in advance of the hearing as we can. I do have some more mitigation work to do there. The last storm destroyed some things that I need to replace. I've already spoken to Mr. Souza about it. But we won't be doing any more work on the wall until we can come to some resolution, which I'm willing to do. And I think we can design something in a way that preserves what we have, where the exterior appearance is changed enough that I think it'd be a compromise.
And big picture, I raised a teenage stepson here, and he's 53 now. And he comes back every summer with his 3 little boys to show them what he fell in love with the birds, with the marshes, with the fishing, with the cohocking. You have a stunning view, one of the better views of the point. And they're going to look over the pool, they're going to look over everything, and your kids are going to see this sunrise and sunset. They're going to see the marshes and the birds and the swans. They're going to see the egrets. They're going to see people cohogging, and that's what they're going to remember and want to come back to. And that's what you've got. You've already got a paradise there. You don't need a concrete Disneyland.
I agree, but again, there's certain amenities that we're looking for, and again, we'll modify the design that we have, and perhaps you'll see your way to do it.
Just so we don't spend endless meetings doing this,
Well, I don't want to do that.
maybe we should talk about, I mean, as long as we're just talking right now, since, as I say, it sounds like we can't make any final decisions this meeting anyway. First of all, do we have any comments from commission members on what's been discussed so far?
Well, I look at this and think Ms. Jordan Kelly Price, or no, Kelly Jordan Price, had referred to the swimming pool and the hot tub as improvements. How the hell do you improve upon that view?
No, okay.
Would this wall, then, if you saw this from the river and you saw a 3.5-foot stone wall, would that be acceptable to the abutters?
What, 3.5 feet?
This stone wall, if we saw that from the river,
Which one are you referring to? There are two there.
well,
One seems
any
higher.
one of these are the same.
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
Okay, so everyone is agreeable to a traditional stone wall? Yes, Jim?
That I think there's a possibility, right? In other words, if what is objectionable is the height of the wall, then you can bury the height of the wall by berming the land around the wall.
Basically,
Now,
terracing.
hang on, though.
You're talking about
Yeah,
terracing.
if I will,
Uh-huh.
If you're not careful, you'll replace a wall with an earth dike. And it'll look just as ridiculous. It'll just be now ground,
but
right? So it's how you design the wall.
Yeah, if you're
And it's-
terracing, you're doing.
If you're
one
terracing
wall,
it,
then
or if
another
you make
wall.
the angle,
So
so if you put a wall in that's a 45-degree wall, or
Right,
the
right.
angle of repose of the soil,
Right.
or it's whatever you want to say the angle of repose of the soil will be, I don't know, 2 to 1? If you build that wall, and you put that on the west, it'll look like somebody built an earthen dam against it. Now, if you come back and you say, I don't know, if you can feather it down
Here's
50, 60 feet out, and you do that,
Jim.
well, then that's a different thing. So it has everything to do with the grading of the wall, how the wall's designed, what planning is in it, on and on and on.
Jim,
Right?
I'm thinking out loud as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And one of the things I'm thinking is that you terrace it, so you have a 3.5-foot wall, a terrace, then another 3.5-foot wall.
Sure.
And so then you've got up to, what have you got up to, 7 feet?
So the issue that I would say is it has everything to do, and this is going to sound very aggressive, it is not fancy. There's 2 different ways this works. One is, and if I were the petitioner, trust me, I'm going to lower the wall by putting dirt against it. Or, okay, that's an idea, I'll have a landscape architect draw it all up, and I'll make a proposal, and I'll draw it in such a way that everybody in the whole room can understand what it is. And then we'll see what you think about it. And maybe that'll work, or maybe I have to fiddle with it, or maybe I have to put planning in it, or maybe I have to do something else. But that's a path to work your way through. And all I'd say is, yeah, that might be a path. If I were you, I would go down that path. But if I were you, I wouldn't say that's okay until I knew exactly what the design was.
No, we're not saying anything's okay. Right now, we're just discussing. But I don't want to have a whole lot of, oh, you told us to do this, and now it's not what you want, because we don't know what we want till we see it.
You have not told me to do anything.
Right, okay,
I'll agree with
okay.
you there. And
Okay.
what I did was propose changing the landscape around the wall in a way to mitigate the height of it, the perceived height of it.
To mitigate the height,
the height.
but not to reduce it.
So can I just, one more second, that may work. I hear a bunch of people saying, no, it won't work. The only way you know is having people do it, and then when they do it, it either works or it doesn't work. You decide that, we don't decide that.
Well,
You know, but you could try that. I guess the one thing I would say is though, before I would do that, this is just personal. It's still, I'm a little nervous when people say it's a pool, there's no structure, there's this, that, and we'll do all this stuff. And you still got, it's like a little bit like I still got an ace in the hole that you don't have purview over it. That I still might take you to court on that, and I still might actually decide that it's not a structure, it's just a pool. And it seems a little bit like if we're going to get anywhere, there has to be some general agreement that you do have the right to review. You do have, it is a structure.
for us, it's unquestionable.
That there's certain things that you guys aren't arguing about, because whether the pool is approvable or not, it's not about the pool, it's about this enormous structure that the pool sits in. And
Yeah.
it's like, that is the thing that I think everybody, that's the elephant in the room. And
Yeah.
what is, the structure's there, it's a real structure, you have the right to review it, it's not a wall. You know, at what point can people start to agree with the fundamentals of this thing?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that it isn't like 3 weeks from now, somebody comes up and says, well, wait a second, remember, it's just a wall, nobody has the right to approve it, you know what I mean?
Bob?
It'd be nice to get that back.
Mr. Lyons?
Yes.
When I said 3.5 feet is acceptable,
Uh-huh.
what we had in mind, what my clients had in mind, was what Jim had shown you.
I hear that. I do hear that. I do hear that. I do hear that. I do hear that.
Yeah.
And I'm not gainsaying that or backing off from that at this point either. I just want to show this picture that somebody sent me, which is before and after. And you see what happens when you have something of this height. It obscures half the house. You know, I mean, it's not just, I do think the wall is too high under any plan, but that's my personal opinion.
I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. the 3.5-foot stone wall is acceptable, but it would have to be a lower 3.5-foot
If I
wall.
may, I suggest that Jim shows you that plan on the screen one way.
Yeah.
Just so we all
Right.
understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
And that would require the saw cut.
What?
Do you have pictures
Right.
of the house from the water?
No, I don't, I've got I don't know where these pictures came from.
These
They
were
were in
in
our
the
mailbox.
file. They were in the-
So we have one thing, and that's berm it up.
That's not one.
And that's not acceptable to certain people. The other thing is to saw cut the foundation down, which can be done. It's certainly feasible. Actually, it's happened here in the
Historic
district.
district.
Someone built a foundation that was too high, and they were required to cut the foundation down. So
So,
there's a history of it.
so this is just, if you wanted to see it, look, I'm not trying to expose it this night avenue. You should get somebody who works for you to do what you like. But if it were cut down, this was the theory of if you could cut it down, it would be like that. And I understand all the reasons why you wouldn't want to do it. I guess the only challenge is if you were going to put something in front of this wall, and if there's still access, there's not a lot of space in front of that wall to put something 6 feet high that slopes down in a gradual way, right? It's sloping down at 45 degrees.
No,
That's-
it would run into the Wood River if it wasn't held in
No,
place.
maybe you can figure it out, but that's not the easiest thing to do. Potentially, piling a bunch of dirt up here and bringing it all the way down. It's just, as you might imagine, to have something that look natural, that's now up, raising the dirt up 6 or
Well, and
6
it's got.
feet. I mean, the septic ones that only come up 2 feet, right, or
Right.
3 feet. Those are actually a challenge to get those to look okay. This is, I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's not easy to do. There was a reason why I just went with that one, and it was just like, it was relatively low-hanging fruit. I know it was maybe not what you wanted to do, and I appreciate that, but it was just if you could just cut the wall down, then you can drop it down, and it's an easier, not easier, but it's a less radical design from a standpoint of getting it to be right, as opposed to maybe what the dirt was. But I think the way the commission should work is you should have the right to try something and see if it works, and you should have the right to review it, and if it does, that's great. If it doesn't, then you keep coming back, and people have been doing that for years. So, I don't know if that's helpful.
I
Just
have
to
a
go back
question,
and
I have a
Yes,
question
very
on that
helpful.
design.
Yeah.
If the pool is dropped down to this lower level, can you still get the depth that you need to have an in-ground
Sure.
pool?
I have no
don't know
idea.
what
I don't know where
Would you-
bedrock
would you
is.
hit
I don't know
salt
where.
water at that
I don't know
point?
where no, it's not salt water there. but-
There's quite a bit of ledge, and then you do have the water table. I don't know where the water table is. May not be able to do it from down there.
But it'd be great to explore that for our
Well, wait,
commission.
a pool can be down to the water table. I mean,
Well, the pool and the concrete weigh more than the water table.
yeah,
So
you keep the
it'll
pool full
displace
of
the
water all winter. I do that.
Now, whether or not there's,
So
whether or
that's
not, I have no
possible.
idea. I mean, I don't know where the grade is, the pool pitches, right? In other words, it's not, I don't know how deep it is, 8 feet in one part, maybe not. I don't think the whole pool is what.
No, the pool has to.
Yeah, so I can't answer any of those questions, right? And that would be something.
And again, we also were worried about rising sea levels. Eventually, that was going to become our seawall at some point. Probably after Amarant, not around anymore. But that's also part of the design.
Excuse me, to what extent did you drop from the terrace to the pool level in that illustration? I mean, roughly.
How many feet down is the pool from the
Yeah,
terrace?
exactly, 5 feet, 10 feet? No, well, not 10 feet.
It looks like 6
5
feet, about 6 feet.
It was like 6 feet.
It looks like 6 feet.
I mean, it wasn't. I mean,
So we're
take a
going
person-
from 9
per
feet down to
person,
3 feet.
And again, once again, I think that's an issue of, how does it drop, how does it do that?
Well, I think that's
I mean,
visually.
don't be, this is a,
This is just
100 ways to-
spitballing. This is just spitballing. We
It's just
understand
100
that.
ways to design something.
John?
Thank you. I think what this is going to, should come down to,
Mhm.
my opinion, is that this is about compromise.
Yes.
And it's that the neighbors don't want, I don't want to see the commission not mean anything. That's my reason for being here. You know, I think that if you can think about cutting down a couple of feet and burning up a couple of feet and giving up a foot in depth, I think you get right where you want to be. You cut that thing down a couple of feet, you burn them up a couple of feet, 5 or 6 feet, you go from an 8-foot deep pool to a 7-foot deep pool, you might be right where you need to be, and it's without giving anybody an absolute. Like, we're not going to do that. I think until you study those things and see what, I mean, if you're talking about putting a $400 a foot glass railing on it, then it's hard to argue that we can't make a concrete product. It's incompatible. You can cut the concrete for a lot less than $300 or $400 a foot. So I think that if you came back with plans and said, I've compromised in these 3 different ways, it's as far as I would like to go and have the result that I want, realizing that we still need approval on a pergola and a kitchen. It's got to all be there to say this is a reasonable solution from where I started. And if you can get there, I think you get all the people in the room and say, let's get to a solution that works for all of us. But if you're going to tell us we can't do that, when we know it can be done, then it's hard to negotiate. And I heard you say, you know, you don't mediate, mitigate until you have to. This is the message. You have to.
I don't believe I said that.
Yeah.
I said I don't litigate until I have to. And we are in litigation, publicly, right? And I'm here, right? Because, again, support the commission. I've been before the commission before, never had problems. The first time. So it's a shock to the system for my entire family. So understand that. That this is not what we expected. It's not what we expected to be. And as I said, we've taken feedback, right? We've heard it. We'll try to come up with a solution that we believe addresses those concerns. May not be exactly what you want. May not be exactly what I want. I don't want to do anything other than what my plan was, but I'm willing to explore those options. Right? I think I was clear about that. And I appreciate the design. Like I said, that's where we started. And it was almost identical, wasn't it, to your first design? It was very similar to that. And then for the reasons I explained, we decided not to go there. But as I said, we don't want to leave litigation. We do need to preserve our rights. As Roger, your attorney, knows, good lawyer, I'm sure he'll advise you well. But even if I won in Superior Court, I would still want to do things to make it look right for the point. I would still want to do that. That's not argument. So understand.
Okay, so are you requesting a continuance?
Yes.
Okay, it has to be done in writing, I believe.
Yes.
Can someone draft that up? Is your attorney here tonight? Yes.
She's right.
Oh, there she is. Just draft up.
We can send that to council?
It has to be done tonight before the meeting ends. So it can be handwritten, absolutely.
I think I have the form.
Yeah.
Please look.
If I don't think there's any. If there's a sample, that's fine.
If there's any other commentary so that we can take it in now?
Well, I haven't opened up the floor much wider than, are there any other people who want to make comments at this time? Well, hold on.
It's on the website, but I think I have.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me all?
Yep.
Actually, I'd like to use Jim's picture.
I'm sorry, I don't know who you are.
My name is Gregory Knoll. I've been a resident of the district for 50-some years.
Architect.
Not an architect like my friend Mr. Collins, but I do have a master's from MIT in architecture. And I'm still batting 1,000 in this, in every historic district I've ever worked in. Those are my qualifications. I had a client who had a site a little more radical than this in Kitch. Yeah.
Do you want to?
Yeah, no, this
Do you want me to drive, or are you just going to use?
No, this is all I need is this graphic, because I'm going to ask you to use your imaginations. My client's site was a little more pitched. So I designed the basement, that a crawl space here, and then a deep basement on the east end. So that we'd have a crawl space and ventilation that was deep enough. Well, first of all, that let the building exist at grade, existing grade, on the high side. Just like kind of this building here is at existing grade on the high side. My foundation design also, because there is a lot of ledge, so I had a crawl space that was deep enough for any plumber to get in there and fix the pipes. The deep end was deep enough so that any plumber or anyone could get in and service the utilities, the well pump, the furnace. So it's a very pragmatic design. My client, however, wanted a full basement. This long after the project was approved. Spring comes along, I get a phone call. I said, what? And I went down to the site, and there's a concrete wall this high out of the ground. Same deal. So of course we all have to go back to the commission. After a lot of discussion, my solution was, I'm going to cut it off right here. But my client was aghast, but I saw it as a teaching moment. We cut the thing off.
You cut the wall off?
We cut the wall off, and what my client ended up with was a large space.
Yes.
That was pretty much useless for any use whatsoever. But we got the building down to where it belonged and where I, as the designer, had originally intended the project to be. And that remedy was approved in 10 minutes by the commission. So if I could, through the chair to the applicant, I would just say that you have gotten some really good professional advice. And it's a tricky problem, but that's what architects do. Or guys like me, designers. If I were brought into your project, I would look at it as, okay, I've got to cut this thing down to here on the west end, which is going to bring me back to first basement grade on the first floor. But if, as Jim said, it will allow me, or Mr. Moriarty, to have the full scope of the pool. Because, and then if you build stone wall around it, like a real stone wall, and then fill a little bit with soil and materials you could plant in, then it's going to look like any stone wall on the point. If we start raising grades, there's no way, and your site is not big enough to, or the cost to bring in 50, 60 huge truckloads to try to make it blend in, where the whole point sweeps like this, and then the front of your place is going to be a big hump. I don't care how much the grade is, it will never look right. I will finish just by saying that it would be an intriguing project for a really good designer to remedy your problem. It protects your interest. Cutting concrete, very easily done. You cut it, you break it into pieces, you put it in the truck and it goes away. Then it becomes a design project for a really good designer or architect to then meet the client's wishes. Needs, we all got, the whole shebang, but find a way to architecturally, and I would say beautifully, make that transition from the second floor down to the pool. It could be something very complex and frankly, very beautifully done. I think it would protect your interest.
Excuse me, just because we still have a long meeting ahead of us, do you think we can wrap this? If you want to discuss it with him privately, that might be a good idea.
Just finishing up.
I'll talk to you outside.
No, I don't want to talk, I want you to listen to what everyone said. Because it's not the commission's job to design your project. It's your job to present to the commission.
Yeah, I appreciate the commentary. I do note that crawl spaces things, you still need to get people that want to come and work. And if they're crawl spaces, it's hard to get people to come and work. And there's fewer and fewer.
Bob, yes,
Procedural issue.
a procedural issue, yes.
Mr. Bronca's attorneys have filed an appeal at the ZBA for February 7th, I believe it is.
Okay.
And I think if we're all talking about talking, that should be continued as well.
Okay, I think you're right.
That's regarding the stop work order. So,
Yeah.
In that,
Mr. Chair, as you probably know, you have no.
We have no jurisdiction.
No say over what's
We have no
happening.
jurisdiction, but I think he's right.
well, I'm happy to discuss the possibility with my client, and if
Okay.
we agree, we'll make it a requested in
and
the
there are
ZBA.
appeal periods to the
Certificate of non-applicability.
We do need to preserve our rights, but as I said, I think I would win in Superior Court, but again, I'm willing to come back here regardless,
Very good.
because I want it to be something that works, right?
I appreciate it.
Good. Well, thank you.
And I have the continuance request to
Yep.
get in, but I
Okay.
just wanted to confer with my client
Very good.
on one issue. Thank you.
Now, I should mention, I won't be here next month. And neither will Michael. But Garrett should be.
Garrett will be back.
Next meeting.
Oh, what did you say before that?
I said I won't be here next.
Oh,
I'll be here. Garrett will be here.
Good, good. Okay. Good. As long as you've got a quorum, I just want to make sure.
You really should be here.
Look, I'm going to be in Peru, I'm sorry.
oh, nice. I think you should cancel the trip.
Exactly, and to visit my grandmother.
What are we going to do next month about record keeper?
That's something we have to discuss later this evening. Oh, yeah, now, that was a question, is there,
Mr. Chair.
everyone else has spoken who wants to speak at this
I was
point?
just going to ask if there are other comments that I could hear.
Yeah. Is there anything else, or can we move on? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all. And the next item of business is not 7 Windward Way. That one was withdrawn after the agenda was made up. The next item of business is 212 Howland Road. Oops.
One other question on the request for.
We need to, I need to sign it.
Yes, the applicant is wondering by what date you want any additional materials.
Dave, sorry to be intrusive about.
You have to talk to your client. I'm not sure by what date you can get additional
We
materials.
had floated the concept of February 1st. Would that be okay for the commission?
That's pulling it very close. We'd like to try to post it on the town hall bulletin board. And if it's the 5th, that's pretty darn close. But I understand the issue. I mean, maybe you want to continue it not till February, but to March. I don't know what your preference is. Why don't you talk about it, and then we can talk about
Is it acceptable that
I think an architectural would be nice, landscape architects.
it. Okay. Yeah, I think we would like to get additional materials at least a week before the meeting.
We could go to the next meeting.
Or we could put it to the March meeting, that's what I'm saying.
If we don't have, if we come here in
That's-
February, you're like, I don't have enough.
Right. Very good. That's what I want to know.
But it has to be that deadline, right?
Yeah.
Which is, what's the date on that?
No, it's not, they're not going to have it by 3 weeks ahead of time.
Well, at least 2 weeks.
You think it should be 2 weeks?
February
Somehow
5th.
it's gotta get
I'll
posted
send you an
somewhere.
Okay,
email.
let's see what we've got.
Let me see if you're on my phone, is it?
February 1,
Texting.
2002, well, no, February 1's not soon enough. What?
February 1 is actually
It's 4
2
days.
days
Two business days before the
for the
meeting.
meeting.
Right.
Again, Mr. Chair, if you want, that's what they've asked
We'll
for.
try to get it in as soon as we can, but again, if.
I know, but you've got a lot of work to do. You've got a lot of work to do. It seems to me, maybe you want to put it off till March. I just think.
March
I'd like to take a shot at doing it in February, again, just.
Well,
because
then,
it's
we've got to have it at least a week before the meeting.
So what is the Monday before February?
February 12th?
No.
Oh, the other way.
So that would be January.
29th.
January 29th.
It's 3 weeks.
Do we get a landscape rendering?
It's 3 weeks.
Landscape architect's rendering.
And we are still asking that this set of drawings have dimensions on them. So it's- Okay.
Do you need a calendar?
Try that. And then everybody can initial. You okay with that? I'm sorry, it's going to be your meeting. I should have left it to you.
I know, but
And then, Mr. Chair, once it's submitted, you'll just make them, you'll just ask for the motion.
Yes.
Yeah,
Motion to continue? Yeah.
pursuant to.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
I move we close.
No, continue.
I move we continue.
second,
I second.
Okay. Caroline Bolton.
Aye.
To February 5th if the documents are submitted by January 29th, or March 4th if they are not.
Doing the same February meeting, but they need the documents to
Oh,
February 5th, it's February 5th.
what's that date that you have for the documents deadline, so I can.
January 29th.
That's enough, we like the way it is. And I'd like to take more comments.
And you,
Because we might have a preliminary design and say, what do you think about this,
You could do that.
right? So,
The
isn't that's exactly what you asked for, right?
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
So even if it's not completed, like, this is the direction we're going in.
But as you can
What do
see,
you
there's a
think?
lot of public interest, and I'd like to be able to post it ahead of time. I mean, I really feel that's
Well, again,
something.
if you feel like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is the right direction, there's gonna be these finishing touches, then we're gonna post it, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
We
I'm
can
not
call
gonna-
it, we
I
can
won't
call it
push the vote.
preliminary, we can call it preliminary. when we
Well,
post.
and all the documents are subject to.
So wait, are we continuing this? Well, it's not a preliminary because you've already made the application. So this is not a.
It's just continuance of the public hearing.
It's just a
Just a
continuance.
continuance,
But
yeah.
I think what we gotta do is maybe we gotta put a little more language in here and say February 5th, if we can get the documents by January 29th, or March 4th otherwise. Just,
Is that acceptable?
I'd rather appear, again, and I thought it was constructive, I'd like to see,
you wanna hear about something even if you don't,
If I've got a pretty
even if
picture
we don't
that I-
have it posted.
a
Okay,
picture
okay,
that I
you know
think is
what?
pretty.
Let's
Let's see here,
let's leave it.
but everybody else would hear too.
Okay,
Again,
okay, now, we were voting, I believe.
aye.
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 Deborah Chialfi, aye.
Beverly Shook, I vote for continuance.
Very good. We're all voting for this continuance, and I will sign it.
and I was serious about that advice about how you want to get the guidelines changed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we-
well, we
we're
can
aware.
always use help.
There are
We
ways
can
to
always
do it
use
other
help.
than the ways you were talking about.
Yeah.
I watched the work sessions, done this before. It's actually might be easier to do it at the state level than it is at the town level.
Yeah.
Although last state thing, it took me 12 years to get legislation to do something, but there are things that go quicker, this might be one.
Yeah.
Where did you?
Walls, in particular, there's some nuance to that, that you want to leave it.
Instead of, yeah.
Mr. Chair, is there anything else you need from me tonight as town council? All
I don't think so. We've got some more items of business, but I don't think we need you for it.
right, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
council. Thank you.
See you in February. Well, I won't see you in February.
No, you won't see me.
Peru, we're all going to Peru.
Okay. Now, the next item of business is a demolition application for 212 Howland Road.
What is
Do we
this?
have, you're John, I assume. Podium is good. You can sit, you can podium, whatever your preference is.
I didn't bring my lawyers or my architects or my landscape people.
I'm so glad.
Are you
It's nice
the
to
owner?
meet you.
Good to meet you.
I'm the owner, yes. Yep. And we spoke as well.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you.
do we have some way of knowing where this is?
Yeah.
I mean, you have a plot plan?
I do. This is from when the septic was due.
And I've
You've got
put
the-
out some,
Are
well,
you
here's
the owner or
the
the
demolition
designer? You're
application.
the owner.
And that's-
We bought it 2 years
And
ago.
this is the Macris, and this is the building next to it, next door.
Monchi, M-O-N-G.
This is the building, and this is the one next door.
Yeah,
Yep.
we know that.
Okay.
We have that. Can I see this?
Absolutely. 1895, I think is what it's down as. Yeah.
1890, I'll tell you right now. It
I
says
think it's at 1895.
1890.
1890,
Yep.
something like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Here,
So,
this is where,
go ahead, present what you're going to
this
present.
is.
Sure, so so we're
Guys,
looking,
can we
Yeah.
have full attention?
so are you familiar with the house? It's right next door.
Yes.
So it's right in the Westport Harbor area. It abuts the 9th fairway of the Acoxa Club, right there. It's an old farmhouse, originally a barn, then they made it into a structure you could live in, and then they added 2 additions and vinyl siding and all that good stuff. So what we want to do, my wife and I, we want to demo it and put up a bigger house, for grandkids. It's not very functional for big family type thing.
I guess my first question, and it always is with these sorts of things, is have you considered using it as a wing of a new house?
We did.
And?
We looked at the cost and the cost of actually pulling out the horsehair plaster and trying to remodel it. It's the way the house is designed. It didn't consider any of the views with the way it's laid out. And from a financial perspective, it would be a lot of money to try to mesh an addition or something like that to this original structure. And so that's why we didn't really want to do it. It would be, for us, it would be much less expensive just to take it down and put up a new house.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. Any other?
How old is the house?
It was
1890.
The date is 1890. It's a small farmhouse. You consider it a smaller farmhouse.
That's the house there?
That's the house, the White House there. Yeah.
Here, just pass that down if you would.
So the White House gets raised as well as the barn?
Yeah, both of them.
Everything
both
gets
get
raised.
raised.
Everything
Yep.
gets raised.
Yep.
Oh, that's not good.
I live in Westport Harbor.
Okay.
On Brayton Point Road.
Yep.
It's really, that area is extremely important as a historic view aspect of it, because of the Holland House, the large, if you guys can see this,
We're right next door to it.
there,
The one next door, no, the one next door, here, show, it's the second page there.
this house
Yeah.
is right there.
Yeah, that's
Separated by a row of solar panels.
No,
Well,
his front lawn.
The solar panels are more toward the road.
Are they on your property?
Yes. Yep.
Are they your solar panels?
They are. Yep. When they came with the property when we bought it.
So would you be building a house that is
Here,
the same,
here.
on that same spot?
Yes.
The same place?
Yep. So it would be as you
That's it.
towards
Wait,
the.
there's another view.
Red, I have these in color.
Oh, you're gonna need color, here, forget that, do it in color.
So if you look at the house,
Yeah,
this is
here.
the septic.
Here's 3 views of the house. This is
I
from,
always want to know,
this is
what is,
from the west, this is from the south, no, sorry, this is from the south, and this is from the east, it looks like. Yes, this is from the east.
That's correct. Yeah.
okay, so this is what's seen, what is seen from Holland Road? Which one of these?
This one.
Currently or in the
The
new?
proposed.
The new one, this one.
proposed.
This is seen from,
This or this, one or the other of these, they're kind of both.
that's what you'd see from the golf course.
okay,
This is what you would see from Holland Road.
Oh, that's what you can see from Holland Road.
and so this, it would spread across the property in this direction
I see.
rather than
I had it
the old
backwards.
house,
Yeah,
which
so
is
I can
the
show
gable
you.
end of the old house.
So here's what it would be. So here's, if I'll do this way. Here's the road, and here's the golf course, and here's the existing house. So it would stay, this border would stay there on the edge of the house, and it would come up this way and then go this way, and the garage would be here.
Okay, because of this grade, yeah.
Right.
And so the face,
Well, wait a minute, so that,
what's facing Helen Road?
This is what you're gonna see from
That's
Holland
facing
Road.
Howland Road, right? So you have, and actually, we've taken out the upstairs in this,
Yeah.
trying to minimize the cost. So we've taken out those two upstairs. So it's just a
Single story.
It's a single story breezeway and
Yeah.
garage now.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
that would, this is what you, from the road, that's what you would see.
Okay.
And the garage would be here.
Okay, it's fine, it's good that you took that off.
Yeah,
Because that's
I
not-
have a new drawing
No,
here
no,
that we kind of marked up a little.
that's okay. Marked up, we can look right past.
So this, yeah, so I'll just show you what it looks like. So, and we're going to try to tweak the windows. So here's the road. That's what you're looking at,
Yeah,
the road
okay.
right there.
Okay, that's
And
better.
From the golf course, more or less, that's what you.
We don't consider the golf course a public way.
Oh, okay, okay.
But actually, it doesn't
Well,
matter.
no,
No, we're not
we're
talking
not
public
talking
ways.
about that.
We're just talking
I'm just
demolition.
ta-
We're just
Yeah.
talking demolition.
So this is what it would look like from the
Uh-huh.
golf course.
Yeah. I'm only looking at it from Howland Road,
Yep.
because it's going to be, to have the house that's been there since 1890,
90.
and the Coxet area is really sensitive. And especially what is around the Howland House, which is a jewel.
Oh, no question.
Of Westport Harbor.
Yes.
And so I think that a message should be sent to your architect to try to come up with a design that is a little more similar to what's there.
What's there?
That, or, that, or just something, so it doesn't,
It's incongruent.
so what's gonna happen is that it's gonna be a big shock to people. And you have to live there. You see what's being built down the street.
Mars, yeah.
What is that?
Oh, you're talking about the corner,
The apartment building.
The steel one.
the steel one.
See,
Yes.
these are kind of
This
things.
is nothing close.
No, I know. I just want to bring that up, that
Sure.
that's shock.
No, and that's the thing. My stepfather is Rick Desjardins. They live down in the
Oh,
harbor,
yeah, okay,
and my mom
sure.
is Sarah.
Okay.
And that's just one thing that
Yeah,
Rick
okay,
advised
that-
me on. Make
that-
sure you build a house that's going to be New England and it's going
Yeah.
to be good there. And that's what we try. We think. I mean, the color. It's not going to be this color.
Yeah.
But the shape is. It's just not on the
White
rendering.
would be great.
Yeah, we're going to do white with shingles.
Again.
Is it
again.
shingle?
It's going to be shingled.
It's gonna be
yeah.
And the
Shingles gonna be
windows
good.
will be these windows, or are you
I
getting more like
Yeah. So
similar to
Well,
this
I think
sort
this
of-
is just something to,
Just-
that we don't have anything to say over
I know,
what's
I'm
built.
just asking.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah,
really here
it's-
to discuss the design of the house.
Let's-
No, but the house itself is definitely a New England style. I grew up in Westport. I went to Westport High School, the whole show. And we've lived, my folks, my mom and my stepfather lived there, and I'm a part of the Acoxa Club and Elephant Rock and all that good stuff. So it's, we currently live in Dartmouth, but we bought this when the opportunity arose, and my kids are still in high school at New Bedford Folk, so we have to stay in Dartmouth until they're done anyway, so.
Okay,
Just
we have no say over what you build.
Right.
We have a lot of say over what you demolish.
Sure, absolutely.
So that's what we're really talking
Yeah,
about.
That's what we're talking about.
It's sad to think of tearing down a building with that kind of history, and I want to make a suggestion, because you said that it has no good views to the water, it was built like that, and my neighbor down on the point, same thing, all the houses were built, the old ones, facing south, because there were no trees then. And so he actually, and Dennis Talbot did it with a little cherry stone in the back of the corner of one side, and he turned the house around.
Right.
And so that's very doable, as an alternative to tearing it down.
Either way, we would have to put an addition on that would be similar to this size anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that having one full structure that's made from scratch would be a lot more appealing on the eye than having this and then additions onto it. You know what I mean?
Okay. As far as the house goes, if this was an 18th century house, that would be a big problem. What our bylaw says that we do have the power to delay the demolition up to 1 year.
Okay.
In order to come up with some sort of resolution, sometimes it means either moving a house or something like that, especially if it's 18th century, really important house. Now, this house is not that important, although I hate to see it gone. I mean, I just feel it's a big, important thing that's been there for a long time. But again, we have to be practical. So restoring it is possible, but it's...
And moving it, you know, you could save yourself a lot of money demolitioning it if you can get somebody to buy it for $1 and move it off the property.
Would love that.
It's not worth
Only
it.
this
I
morning.
don't think that, I think it's too big and it couldn't be taken apart.
It's not worth it. It doesn't have any value in terms of
It's a very sweet
antique
house.
value.
Right.
It doesn't have
It's not historic enough.
the things that make an antique house important.
Yeah.
And there's been additions put on.
It doesn't
and
have it.
It's 2 other rooms were put on and.
The problem is, I would be in favor of it being demolished as much as I am a preservationist and restored houses. But I see the issue, it's practical. It's just a matter of what's being put in its place as far as its impact on what's around it.
So if I could take
Yeah.
that? So the Howland House is located right about here.
Yeah,
So this house would still be offset from it. From this
Yeah.
road, was that Fairway?
It's from in the north, you're coming from the
Fairway
north,
Drive, you'd be
yeah.
able to see this in its full entirety. The only view that would be,
No.
that would impact the view, the only, if you're standing down here, then that would be the only way that you couldn't see the entirety of the Howland House.
no, that isn't what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. What did you-
All I'm
sorry.
saying is that there's a white house here that's been there for that many years, and it's really part of that little section of
milieu
the Howland House.
With the Howland House.
For sure.
So I think what you build has to have respect for what this is.
Who's the architect?
It's the gentleman, Dana Nilsson, out of Marion.
Okay.
He's the
Okay.
designer.
Well, if he's
So
done
what I try to do
if he's
is,
done historic houses, you know, in Marion or anywhere else, or have him take a look at Westport Point,
sure,
the architecture there. You have here in your plan
but we
drawn
have,
a federal house.
I know, but I tried to match it as
Well,
much as I
well,
could with a box. This is the side view. So that's that, if you look at this and that house, this is just a bigger version of that house.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But.
And then with a garage added on.
But with proper detailing that the architect would do in terms of the rake boards and the
Oh,
pitch
sure.
of the roof and everything else. I
Yeah.
know this is just something to bring in.
Sure.
I would put some work into trying to come up with something that has some sense of what was there.
Yep, the house
And I
is
can
going
see
to
it
be
right
white.
there.
Yep, it's going to be white. It's going to have, it'll have the asphalt shingle roof. It'll be
The
similar to
shutters,
that, just a little bigger.
Yeah, because the people, we don't have to notify abutters for demolition. We
Right.
should, because you would have people from Westport Harbor, which has happened before, fill the room. It's just the way it is. They're very sensitive to that. I just want to say that.
Okay, fair enough. And I've spoken to I know my neighbors are all good friends of mine over there.
Yeah,
and
sure.
You know, this is, they're thankful that we're not putting up what's on the corner.
Well, see, there's the point with
Yeah.
the 40.
And how did that get through,
with
by the way?
It doesn't-
There's no
we
historic
don't have a-
review.
Yeah,
We
well,
don't
there's
have
the
historic
problem.
house, that
Since
was-
We
you're
don't
gonna-
have authority.
That's right.
Since
that's
you're
right.
going to live there,
Yeah.
Westport Harbor needs a historic district, because you see what's happening.
Yeah.
And it is a gem of architecture.
There is some
Oh,
beautiful,
boy.
yeah, unlike the
The whole-
Howland House,
the whole
that
place.
should never come down the Howland House, for sure.
Well, yeah, we can only stop it for 1 year.
Right.
So, my feeling is that with some proper thought into, with an architect who has experience with antique architecture, to look at the site and try to make something that does not have an impact on it, that fits in with the look of this house.
You don't think the building that we're proposing does that?
It looks like something out of a builder's magazine. But
Doesn't
that's
have any
just because it's a.
That's because the way it's drawn.
That's
you know, the
This
way
is
it's
something that the
graphic.
computer does.
So,
Yeah.
and this is, but we're very practical people, my wife
Yeah.
and I, and that has all the living
No, I think that's
things that
fine.
we're looking for.
I think it's fine,
Yeah.
sure. It's just that this drawing, when we see this, it doesn't show much that.
So you want to see more of a
There's-
plan?
Like, for
No,
example,
we don't
have to
see it.
will
We
there
don't
be
have to see it.
shutters and-
We don't have to see it, this is just,
Oh, we'll have shutters,
This
Yeah.
that's
So
true.
it'd be
yeah.
more like the house that's being demolished.
Sure, and that's our plan. Look, I grew up in that area. I don't want it to be a huge impact. It's very exposed on the hill,
Yeah.
obviously. You look at the Mars house down the street, and what they've done is beautiful, right? But it's much bigger than the house that was there.
Now, are you going to have an attic, a walk-up attic in
No.
this? No.
No, you'll be able to get up there, but you can't live up there.
No, no,
You might be
okay,
able to store
okay,
some
yeah, yeah.
stuff, but
Because
no.
I'm wondering, the old house, I'm just looking at this.
Mhm.
You see the way the roof comes down a little bit.
Yeah, and it's kind of cutting out some of your headroom in there.
Does it?
We
Okay.
wanted to give it full headroom in the second floor.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, do we have a second? Wait, we've lost one of our members.
Well,
Oh,
I don't know, how does the rest of the people
I'm
feel?
torn.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm quite ready to say tear it down, or let's just give it a few months and toss some things out. Something may come out of the woodwork, so to speak, horsehair or something, but I'm just not sure I can say that would be a good thing.
Would it be possible to bring in, bring in some variations of this design to us at a next meeting?
I can bring you in a more exact design on
That'd
what
be
we
great.
want with the proper colors and the shutters on there and how it would look similar to that house except bigger.
And
with a
also
garage.
just consider different arrangements on the lot or whatever.
There's one view, right? So
Okay.
that's the view that looks out
Looks out.
towards the vineyard, and then
Yeah.
you've got it looking down towards Westport Harbor. That's what we wanted
Sure,
to maximize
sure,
with our
sure,
living
sure.
area. So on that side of the house is the living space on the first floor, and then 2 bedrooms on the second floor. So that's kind of the orientation that the current house is in, and we wanted to keep that same orientation, just have the different rooms in different places.
Okay, and what's your name?
Jonathan Mongi.
Jonathan. I will drive by there this weekend
please do.
and just give an eye.
Usually we do a site
Yeah.
visit.
And my mother-in-law is there, so you can go say hi. Her name
I
is
know
Beverly.
your stepfather and mother very well. Very well.
Yeah.
He did my first divorce.
Oh,
Whoa.
I'm sorry, it's not more favorable memory. Or maybe it is a favorable
I guess, I don't know, I'm thinking
Okay.
out loud.
Yeah, so.
I was wondering what happens if
so
you push
tell
the
me
garage
address
back
again.
and
Do
they
you
connect
want
you
to-
back a little bit.
Howland.
Yeah, the things.
My reaction, just having driven by it a couple of times, but most recently this morning.
All you see is the solar panels.
I know.
Well, when you get
My wife wants to
solar
take those down, by the way.
I have the feeling that the access of the house is looking south,
Got everything going.
or the front door. And what you see is the
For
end.
my phone for.
And
Yeah.
you're, I realize
Why don't
we
you
have
show
no
it on the
jurisdiction
picture?
over what you do.
Which way is south, you're saying?
Well, I'm saying that my guess is that's the front of the house.
Is the gable
But
end
as you
gonna
drive
face
by, it,
Howland?
you sort of
Is
see
that-
it this way.
Yep, that's the view from
You know,
Howland.
Howland Road is going
gable
this way.
end is
That's what,
going to-
that's what it's gonna be looking
The
like.
gable end is going to.
But somehow, this, I'm looking straight at it. Yeah, I mean, I'm quite serious. You have the feeling when you drive by, this is what you see. You see the end of the house.
Yeah, that's what you see right now is the end of the house, that's correct.
Well, you see both sidewalls. I mean, that's part of what you see.
Well, you,
I just took a picture from an angle.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, but you-
Yeah, when you're driving by, that's.
so where is the front of this
Right,
So
house?
this is the main house,
Same
and
as-
then that's just a breezeway, and that's the garage.
You know,
Yeah, me too.
one thing, I'm just looking at this, and again, it's just a thought,
Nailed by.
but if you could push the garage back a little bit,
Which way?
toward the golf course.
So there's a tree, there's a beautiful big maple there that I don't want to take down.
Ah, I didn't realize that.
And I'm trying to preserve all, as the big tree, I'm a big tree guy, so
I hear
I
you.
did not want to move it, because I didn't want to mess with that.
I
And
hear you.
having this, and I agree, I'd love to move it that way to get it out of this focus.
So that it's not on the same plane as the rest, and it gives you, it makes the front look
This
more like.
beautiful big tree, I'd have to take it down, and I don't want to do that.
I have some.
No, I've got.
Well, you could have a
And
separate
now,
garage.
but you're not using the same foundation.
No, that's,
So and I don't suppose it's possible, no, I guess not, no, never mind. I was gonna say,
So,
nah.
and if we move the house up this way more, then the trees here block this view.
Okay, no, you don't wanna do that. What I'm thinking is, and you can't move it that way because there are trees there.
Well, the property line is here.
Well, you're right at the property line.
Do you own rock with the deck on it?
Tough.
No,
Tough.
That's the golf course. That's the golf course.
Yeah.
When I showed him this a couple months ago.
So are we waiting for next meeting? What are we doing
Well, we
here?
can.
We could, yeah, because
The next-
we'll
Is that-
get a
is
chance
that
to drive
the
by,
request
and then you'll
you
give us a
had?
little more detail, and then we
But
can
the
take a
time
vote.
limit, what's the time limit?
Oh, 30 days. We gotta give you a decision in 30 days.
Are you
We
in a
have to
hurry?
give you a decision now.
30 days
Yeah.
is fine.
Yeah, that's
No,
fine.
no.
I'm down with 30 days, yeah.
You can request a continuance from us.
I can give him a form right now.
Well, what-
Do you have another one?
Yeah, because we have a limit, we can either deny it tonight,
We'll do a continuance.
you can come back.
wouldn't I rather have a continuance?
Yes.
You would.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a continuance for 30 days, and is there a,
Well,
Continuance till
just
next
until the
meeting.
next meeting,
Okay.
and then that we sign.
when is the, when?
You can fill
It's
that out.
February
February.
4th.
February 4th, let me just make sure.
Because then you can bring back what you were saying. that-
February 4th is a Sunday?
Tonight, I'm like, I better-
February 4th.
So
Fifth,
5th.
so February 5th, my
February 5th.
apologies.
Oh, perfect, I can, yeah, that's perfect.
That's good, that works good. These are yours? I don't know.
No, I
And you
think
can fill
for the
that one
record,
out.
a continuance looks better than a.
Yeah, and you can
denial.
actually
Yeah,
fill that
yeah,
out
yeah.
right now and
Yeah,
give
yeah.
that to us, and we can vote on it.
So the public hearing date, is that today's or the next one? February
February
5th?
5th. Oh, no, today was the public hearing date.
Sorry, yes,
On
today's the
first
public
line.
hearing
The first
date.
line is
The
today's date.
first line is today, but you can cross that out, it's
Yeah,
it's no
just
big
put
deal.
today's date.
And
the
I look at this
applicant.
picture.
The fact that we're doing this
It's
in writing
gas
is something
worthy.
that's, we haven't done
And
for a
and I
while.
don't want to see a 9-foot berm.
Deborah,
What?
do we have to,
What? No, Windward Way, he called me after the agenda was out and said they've changed their
Changed their
mind, they're
mind.
not gonna put in the skyline.
Oh,
I
So
swear to
it's
God,
out.
it's man thinks on his feet.
good.
This address is 212 Howland
Howland
Road.
Road,
212 Howland Road.
Westport.
Jonathan, can you
demolition
get out to the Neville
request.
now? No, huh?
Oh, I don't know, well, you can get past Elephant Rock Beach.
Yeah.
I haven't tried to go down toward the Nubble
The
yet, but
last
that's,
picture I saw was like,
it was amazing, that
yeah.
storm.
The storm that came.
Yeah, that wiped it all out.
Yeah.
East Beach too, they had to get the excavators out of their front end loaders for that too.
Yeah.
I was working for Bernie Neves in college when we built the Elephant Rock Beach Club, the new one. And I had dinner with him, we were reminiscing about it the other night, but it stood through all these storms, like,
Yeah.
it's amazing. So today is.
Are we notifying the abutters, or do
Today's
we?
the 8th.
No?
No, there's no butters to notify.
Yeah, what do we know? The building's going down.
Could be submitted. You don't need additional documents, or I'll bring the additional documents, is
Well,
that?
you're gonna
Bring what you're planning to
embellish
build.
the,
Yeah,
But you don't have to put, yeah, that's.
so I'll just put NA.
It's just having a time here to think about
You're right.
what it looks like in its location and its history of being there.
And make us feel better about it.
It's a very sweet house. It's a shame to see it go down.
It is.
Or you've done a nice.
It's just not very functional. I'd love to keep the house personally. I'd rather not spend the money, to be honest with you, but
Has the architect been at the site?
oh yes, several meetings there. Several.
And just relay to him our thoughts on that.
This is the other.
I will, I definitely
Yeah.
will, yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll, there was one
That's the one that counts.
picture
Yeah.
there, the plans that you had.
Oh, yeah, you want those?
I just want that one of the revised, you know what, keep it, I can print it out, don't
No,
worry
no,
about
we
it.
can, we
We're
can
all
get it
good.
to you, because
copies.
we don't,
Which
we're
one
not
did you
gonna
want?
need it, because it's
Nope.
changing.
I think that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These
Well, there was
plans?
one with drawings
It's,
on it.
you can keep them, I'll bring new ones, it's not a big deal.
Okay.
Okay, so.
I'm gonna have to bring new ones anyway, so
Yeah.
just to
Well,
get the
thank
right
you,
colors
And thank
and,
you for waiting it out.
that was very interesting. I'm good friends with Pam Tripp too, who lives down there, and my
You know-
wife
you
does
know
her
all
hair.
about it. You
My
know
wife
all
does her hair,
about it.
she's in the chair all the time. doing her hair.
Very good.
But, all right, and do I need a copy of that continuance, or that's all set?
No,
We're good
it's
there?
all set.
Okay.
You're good to go.
Awesome.
It'll be on the agenda.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
February 8th, I will be
Thank you.
here.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
I think it's the
Right?
fifth.
No, the 5th.
The
February
fifth.
5th. Thank you.
February 5th.
I won't be here.
If you come on the 8th, we won't be here.
All right, nice meeting you all. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Now, next order of business is Bob. Bob, this is your last rodeo, is that correct? Thank you for sticking through to this
Yes,
last
thank Bob.
rodeo. We do
And thank you
appreciate
for-
it.
All you've done.
And all you've done throughout the whole time you've been with us. I don't know what we would have done without you. I don't know what we're gonna do without you. Quite frankly.
That's very right, yes.
So,
There's a few things you have to do.
okay,
If you're gonna continue the practice of having your name tag stored at town hall,
yeah.
somebody has to be responsible for them.
How about
Can we store them here?
How about have the clerk just takes them home? Hey, one of our clerk or an assistant
store them
clerk
That's how it's
takes them
always
where
home.
we
been.
meet.
Just take it home.
Me take them home?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take them.
Beverly, anybody
Beverly's
can take
taking-
them home.
Okay,
It doesn't
wait a
even have to
I
be the
bought 'em,
clerk,
so-
You
right?
bought them.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so Beverly, you're good on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
Beverly's gonna take
Great,
control
thank
of
you.
those.
You're the clerk lady?
No, she's not, she's the name lady,
The name tag.
nameplate.
Well, we need new ones. You're the only one who knows how to get them.
Okay, I buy them. Who do you need them for?
Well, we're gonna need a new, okay.
I got
That's gonna be the next item of business. Actually, the next item of business is the fact that I'm not gonna be here next month, and we're going to need a recording secretary.
Right.
I don't know how we square this circle. You don't have any thoughts?
Well, Betty has volunteered to do that for me.
Betty? Okay, but then she was backtracking because Bob was thinking that because she's an abutter, she should wait till 2015 is over. But you know what? I think we moved far enough on 2015 that he can back off of that and she can be a recording secretary. You're right.
I mean, she's
You're
not
absolutely
taking any
right.
votes
Unless
by
you could do it
recording.
one more month, till we get through
He's already done it 2 more
I
months.
know, he's already
We
extended.
What is, this is your
These are the
files?
last few meeting files
Okay,
and the.
And the names.
Administration thing with all
Okay.
the names of the.
so this is gonna go to our new recording secretary.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hand this to you, because I won't be here next meeting, but if Betty is, you can hand that to her.
So everything that's not recent, I put in the big file folder, which is in the
In
bottom.
town hall?
Bottom drawer of the town hall file cabinet.
Very good.
The one that's locked or the one that isn't?
We gotta get some blood here.
We're still needed.
And
Just-
Betty,
Did I not adjourn? Are you adjourned?
No, we're not adjourned.
Oh, okay, that's why I didn't stop the recording.
Good,
Yeah.
yeah, good.
Okay, I'll pass this down to
Betty
Beverly.
asked for a copy of all those, minutes, files, and other things.
Betty did?
Yeah.
Okay, well then, you will walk Betty down to town hall when the time comes, because that's where they all are, right?
What files does she want?
She wants to see the old minutes, I guess.
Well, everything, minutes, meetings,
Where they are? Sure.
Yeah,
Set
okay.
of keys, basically.
She's gonna
everything that I've done in my time.
Procedural.
Put on a thumb drive.
That's terrific, thank you. Oh, so we don't need to take her to town hall because it's on a thumb drive and she will have it.
This was the most.
Perfect.
Yeah, but I'm not sure you would want to put that, all that information.
Okay. Well, she admit that the public has a right to see our minutes. And she's the public.
They are public records, but there are other things in there that might not be public records.
Where these are your notes, you're saying?
Everybody has
Like
a calendar.
things,
Yeah.
things like,
Okay.
things like the, name addresses and email, telephone numbers of all the members.
But she's not gonna make that
That are on my work computer that you won't have access to.
I understand.
So everything is on that one copy.
Okay, thank you.
So clerk might need it for.
I do understand. Now, the next item of business is our calendar.
Does everybody have a copy?
Everybody does, but you probably don't have the best and newest and best. The newest and best has 2 asterisked Fridays at the bottom of the middle column. And if yours doesn't, then you need a new one.
Oh, can I just see?
Okay.
I don't know what.
Yes, you do.
I didn't have the asterisks.
The
on mine.
asterisks are the last step.
Okay,
Because
you need this,
something about-
the latest and greatest on this.
Holidays and half-days.
Yeah, it has to do with, and Bob figured all that out. Thank you again.
Thank you, Bob.
Next item of business. Michael is resigning.
Oh, I figured that was coming.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's been coming a long time, and I've been trying to get him to delay it, but
Then it should weigh on him to bring in somebody to replace him.
yeah, but he's already sent in his letter of resignation to Pamela. So he's resigned, basically, as of now, and we need a new member, at least one new member, maybe a couple would be very good.
Ursula?
I'll go talk to her this week.
Yes, that would be great. That would be
Any
great.
other
I asked Jeff
suggestions?
Wade, but he declined, but he is willing to be on the advisory.
I do know that, and, no, wait, who's our advisory board committee? I forgot who volunteered to do that. It was you?
Well,
We sort of did, but the thing, but we need architects.
Architects, yeah,
We
and there was
really do.
another architect who was willing.
What about Collins? Would he do it
I think
again?
Jim?
Betty Slate,
Jim,
Jim
yeah.
Collins was willing to be on the advisory.
He's really to be on the advisory committee. I don't know about the commission.
Right.
And how does the advisory committee work? We call them in if we're having.
We basically, if we want professional expertise on
tonight.
something like tonight, they come in and they say, here's a little professional expertise. That's all it is.
That would be
And it's also a stepping stone onto the commission. It
Can
gets
we
people
get
involved.
John Moriarty on the advisory?
that would be
committee?
awesome.
Yes, I would recommend him certainly.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, there are 4 names that are the experts from the people litigating in the neighbors litigating, and that's Jim Collins, John Moriarty, Bob Daler, and Eric Dre. Bob Daler is an engineer, and Eric Dre does historical preservation. I don't know what, but so I mean, we can get all 4 of those people should be candidates. Okay.
And how do you want to operationalize asking them to be on the commission or the
Should have a
advisory
form
committee?
letter.
I think start people out on the advisory committee.
Yes, and who knows these people? I mean, Moriarty is here tonight.
Yeah, he's up the street.
We all know him now because we've talked, he spoke at our meeting.
He was, he was very eloquent.
Yeah.
And then the other gentleman was the architect, Jim Collins.
Jim Collins.
And he seems willing
It was
to help out.
very impressive.
I don't know the
actually.
other 2 names, I don't know them.
Yeah.
I don't know them either.
Who?
Bob Daler. Bob Daler's the head of the what?
Planning board.
Planning board, thank you.
Oh,
So he's not going to want to be on another commission, but. he
But
would
as
be
an advisor.
Maybe advisory committee. And it'd be
And-
useful to have somebody who's a connection with the planning board.
Yeah, absolutely. And were you going to talk to Ralph about everything that's
Oh, it's
done on
funny you should mention that. Here, that's somewhere in my, I've got just too damn much paper for this meeting. But somewhere here, I have the letter I wrote to Ralph. Here it is.
Vis-a-vis what?
I'll read it to you. This was what you guys approved at the prior meeting, that I should write him a letter to this effect. And I will read it to you. December 6, 2023, Ralph Souza, Building Commissioner. Dear Mr. Souza, I would like to start by saying that the Westport Historical Commission, the WHC, understands that yours is not an easy job and that we are extremely appreciative of the help and cooperation that we have received from you over the years. The WHC regards you as the front line in ensuring that historic structures are not inappropriately demolished in Westport and that building permits for inappropriate work are not issued in the historic district. Unfortunately, as you are aware, the process broke down when it came to the pool complex at 2015 Main Road. Consequently, I've been asked by the WHC to write you to make sure we're on the same page when it comes to the WHC's regulations and procedures. The guidelines for the Westport Point Historic District, dated June 2017, in Section 3A, states that in the historic district, no exterior work may be initiated without a certificate from the WHC. The Westport Building Department will not issue a building permit without a certificate. What this means is that in the historic district, before you issue a building permit for exterior work anywhere on the property, not just on the exterior buildings, but walls, fences, driveways, septic mounds, etc., you must receive an approved certificate of appropriateness, certificate of hardship, or certificate of non-applicability from the WHC. This is a real tongue twister. Even exterior work that is exempt from review by the WHC requires an approved certificate of non-applicability from the WHC. This rule also applies to an application for a demolition permit within the historic district. Once you've determined that a property lies within the historic district, that's the end of the story. My understanding with regard to 2015 is that you didn't realize that a public body of water is a public way, but you shouldn't have to concern yourself with whether an application for exterior work is exempt or call anyone to ask them if it is exempt. If it is exempt, you will receive a certificate of non-applicability from the WHC certifying that it is exempt. Until then, no building permit or demolition permit should be issued. When you tell permit applicants that they need a certificate from us, it might eliminate some of their objections and streamline the process if, at the same time, you hand them a copy of our guidelines and a WHC certificate application. We can always provide your office with more of either if you need them. I understand you've
already gave them a
Yeah, I know,
slew of
but
them,
I just, I wanted to put that in
Yes,
there.
absolutely, yeah, I gave them about 70 of them.
At last Monday's WHC meeting, we were very surprised to hear the architect for 2038 Main Road say that even though the plans for the addition to that property would violate both the north side and rear east setback requirements, it wouldn't be a problem because they are almost never enforced. I don't know if he was saying that this is the case in the historic district only or throughout Westport, but the WHC believes that within the historic district, it is particularly important that the zoning regulations be enforced and permit applications that violate those regulations should be denied without a variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals. The WHC has no authority to enforce zoning regulations, and consequently, when we get an application for a certificate, we have never even looked at the zoning requirements. As for demolition of all or any part of a historic building outside of the historic district, I believe you're well aware of the procedures, but I'll review them again here. When you receive an application for a demolition permit, you check the Westport Historical Inventory to see if the reference building is on it, in which case it is what the WHC deems a significant building. If you have a question as to whether a building is a significant building, you can always check with me or Bill Kendall. If the building is a significant building, you immediately forward a copy of the application for a demolition permit to the WHC. The WHC then has 30 days to review the application, and if it determines that such demolition will be detrimental to the historical or architectural heritage or resources of the town, it will request in writing that you delay the issuance of a demolition permit by up to 365 days. At that point, you will delay the issuance of a demolition permit the requested number of days, or until the WHC withdraws the delay request. An easy reminder to everyone involved not to overlook the WHC when its involvement is required. As an easy reminder, the WHC would like to request the following: adding the following line to the office use checkoff list on the last page of the application for a building permit. Quote, exterior work dash historical commission certificate, end quote, and adding the following line to the office use checkoff list on the last page of the application for a demolition permit. Quote, significant building dash historical commission review, close quote. As always, if you have any questions or issues you would like to discuss further, feel free to give me a call. Sincerely, Red Lawrence Chair.
Very nice,
Wow.
Red.
That's pretty
Very
comprehensive.
That covered everything.
Well, I wanted to make sure I got it right so I don't have to, I hate backtracking when we get our own regulations wrong, and that's, whoa, I have an assignment for all of you. I'm gonna be gone until March. Read our damn bylaws and the guidelines.
Could we get a
Because,
copy of that too?
huh?
Could we get a copy of that?
You want a copy? I'll email this to all of you.
All of us,
That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Okay, I can do that. Okay.
The damn
Where do we
bylaws
find
and
this
everything.
list? I went on Macros and looked for
212.
212.
It was
I
there.
got 214, I couldn't find 212.
It was there. I found it.
Well,
You said you found it,
what's
but
his name?
I
Sent it
Well, you know,
48
if you
page.
can't find the
Thing.
exact
Did you
address,
see
just
that
look
too?
in Howland Road. First you gotta get the town of Westport.
Yeah, well, I think, and I got Howland House, or whatever it's called.
No, you need the town of Westport, they're different things. The
All
first
right,
box
town
is
of
town of Westport.
Oh.
Once you're in the town of Westport, then you can, you can do the address, but if you just wanna do, you can look up addresses and just pick Howland Road and just look at everything that they've got for Howland Road.
3 pages,
Okay.
but that's,
There's this
Background
apparently
explanation.
Chapter and verse.
macro.
yeah, so
That was-
I guess I'll go print the
Well,
rest
not-
of it out.
not-
That's an explanation of law.
You refer to them, catalogs, lists. Where are they? One apparently is in
I'm
our
trying to
office,
find it.
which the next question is, where's that?
It's
But-
Good question.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
January 3rd email from
Right.
Rudd.
What's
I was
going
just
on?
saying that
Oh, okay. If
that
it was from
Mr.
Rudd, I
Branca
have it.
sent us, he had a 48-page printout of the laws, the background explanation of law from Massachusetts historic districts.
Oh, that's from Betty.
Oh, it's from Betty. Oh.
I thought it was.
Oh, I thought
Wasn't
it was
Who
from
else?
him.
No, wait, it was from Bob? Wait, which one is this? I'm sorry, there are too many
Why
pieces of
swimming
paper.
pools are not exempt from review. I thought it was from him, but it's,
Hold on.
chapter 46.
Let me
There were 48
just,
pages in
let
it,
me
so I
just see
only-
which one this is, so that you're reading from.
That's the
I've
whole
got
bylaw.
one
It's the
here.
whole bylaw thing.
The entire bylaw.
That's not from Betty, he did it though, I think.
Is from whom?
It's from
Oh.
Mr. Branca.
Hold
I think
on.
it was from Betty.
What?
No,
Okay.
Bronca didn't give us a 48-page anything.
There were 2 addendums down at the bottom.
Hold on. Background explanation of
On
law from
January
Massachusetts
3rd.
Historic District. Why swimming pools are not exempt from review by Historic District. That's from Betty. Isn't it? No, it's from Bob Feingold. I take it all back. It's from Bob Feingold. I got, it's not, I don't know who this is from. Damn it. I'm pretty sure it's from Betty. But it's not 48 pages. It's like 4
The
pages.
one I had was 48 pages.
Well, then maybe I don't know. You know what? I'll have to get back to you on that, because I can't.
I'll find it again and send it to you. You would not believe the stone wall up there. It's a stone wall.
Okay, now, what else did I have? Wasn't there something else we've left off from last month? Since it's gonna be a while.
I don't recall.
The recording secretary.
Oh, yes.
We need a
Is
recording
Betty-
secretary, is Betty.
Is she going to do it? I mean, we have this important meeting.
I
coming up.
will talk to her.
Okay.
And for how long? I mean, this can't be.
You know, she's trying to find someone for the CPC.
Yeah.
She finds someone for the CPC, the idea is the same someone will probably be interested in doing it for us as well.
Well, that's a good argument.
And I've already put feelers out to everybody at town hall, and I haven't gotten very far.
A lot of people are looking for clerks.
I know, a lot of people are looking for clerks.
Pretty thankless job.
Exhibit A. Yeah.
And not very rewarding in this case.
And the thing is, it can be reviewed on the tape.
It can, that's right, that was one discussion we had, it can be reviewed on the tape, and so you're not trying to transcribe and talk it, and listen and talk at the same time. So which means that someone could do it by reviewing the tape, it's more time and effort.
But it is more time. I mean, basically, you're attending this meeting twice,
Yes, that's exactly right.
which is a tall order.
Oh, pain and misery. Okay. Do we have anything more that we need to discuss now until I'm back in March or until you have your February meeting?
Oh, enjoy your trip.
Thank you.
No, I think it went well tonight.
I was surprised that we seemed to have a more cooperative tone than I was hearing the last meeting.
Very much so.
And very much so. And I have a feeling, I mean, I'm not going to stick my neck, no, I'm not going to malign anybody. I'm not going to stick my neck out and say that his attorney said he doesn't have a leg to stand on, but I believe he doesn't have a leg to stand on.
Oh, I'm good. Glad
And
to hear
in
that.
terms of the non-applicability, certainly.
Well, I think John Moriarty could.
Well, I think that it would, yeah, if it ever got to court, that would not.
What were you saying?
No, what John said, you know, coming from the point of view of a contractor and all that, and he said, you don't. You know, you can either compromise and change it, or you can't build it.
End of story.
Right.
But how did it get that far? Well, I guess.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Let's,
Second.
Caroline Bolger.
aye.
Aye.
Bud Lawrence,
William
aye.
Kendall, aye.
Deborah Chialfi, aye.
Beverly Schiff, aye.